alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What are the lessons in verse 207? Beautiful lessons. 207 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ رَءُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Allah says, and among mankind is he who sells himself. He sells his life. He gives up his life to seek and attain the pleasure of Allah. Allah is full of kindness and mercy to his devotees, to those who worship Allah. Today, we all need to know the strategy to avoid hypocrisy, to avoid disbelief, is by flagrantly disregarding all the attributes of a disbeliever or a hypocrite and imbibing one strategy. What is the strategy? Sell yourself to Allah. Sell your money to Allah. Sell your time to Allah. You know, when you sell something, number one, the person who has purchased it from you can use it as he likes. So when I sell my life to Allah, Allah uses my life as he likes. Allah uses my time as he likes. Allah uses my money as he likes. This is the fulcrum of Quran chapter 9, verse 111. If you go to Surah At-Tawbah, Quran chapter 9, verse 111, Allah says, Inna Allah ashtara min al-mu'minina anfusahum wa amwalahum bi anna lahum al-jannah. Allah has purchased from the believers their lives and their money. What will Allah pay back in exchange? Allah will pay them with Al-Jannah. Allahu Akbar. So there's a difference between someone who has unconditionally submitted himself. When Allah says do this, he does it unconditionally because he says it belongs to Allah. My time belongs to Allah. My life belongs to Allah. My money belongs to Allah. My sacrifice belongs to Allah. Everything I do for Allah because Allah activated my existence and only Allah will eventually deactivate it. So I must live for Allah. So this verse is saying that whoever lives for Allah, Allah will show him kindness and mercy in this world and in the hereafter. It is a strategy you must imbibe today. You don't own yourself. Give it all to Allah and you will be happy at the end of the day.
Okay. Salam, everyone. Welcome back to another Zoom session. Today is Sunday, March 9th, 2025. The temperature in New York is expected to get up around the low 50s, 51, something like that. It's a little sunny, a little cloudy, a little overcast. The sun is peeping in and out and doing its thing. May Allah reward all of you who are on board with us today and all of you who will eventually come on board later and those who will view this video via social media, whichever you have, Facebook, YouTube. Later on, may Allah reward you. Those of you who come seeking and understanding, seeking to improve their relationship with their Lord, seeking to earn their salvation and the blessings and the reward of Allah in this life and the next. If you have any other intention on coming on here to criticize or to make mockery or for some ill intent, you can still come on, but you will not be rewarded by Allah for that. And if you get out of pocket and you act arrogantly or something like that, well, then either if you're live here, you'll be cut off, and if not, well, it'll just embarrass you. That's all. It's no problem. I don't mind. We can deal with that. Hopefully you come in here for some good to benefit yourself. Now, uh, I play this video. I'm so happy that I bumped into it. Let me just say again before I get any further that the meeting ID here is 672-403-0756. Let me repeat. The meeting ID, if you want to share it with somebody and you didn't do it and you want to write it down, the meeting ID is 672-403-0756. And the password is 12345. So if you want to call somebody, share with somebody, feel free to do so. And hopefully uh, we can have a good conversation today. It's going to be quite controversial, I might say. Maybe some novelties, something you might have heard for the first time. I don't know. But as I said before, I intend to back up everything I say with a verse or verses of the Quran. I have no personal opinion to speak about anything regarding my Creator. I have no personal opinion about nothing. Now, uh, let me just say a little something about this opening again, because every time I hear it, it's like a masterpiece, where the brother talks about selling yourself to your Lord, because our good brother uh, Shuaib Abdullahi, Shuaib, the slave of Allah, who doesn't like his title, Abdullahi, he doesn't like that, but that's what he is. And the brother talks about Allah, chapter 2, verse 207. Can you put that up on the screen, brother, real quick? Chapter 2, verse 207. And we just want to make sure everybody can see that we're not uh, fabricating anything or quoting anything out of context, which we are quoting out of context. That's what a quote is text out of context. But you can put it back in context. It's not going to change the sense of what's being said. Chapter 2, verse 207. How does that read? And of men is he who sells himself to seek the pleasure of Allah, and Allah is compassionate to the slaves, to the slaves. They got servants because they don't want to use the word slave, but the word is slave. We've already made that case, and I've said it over and over again. So now, and the mere fact that the man sold himself, so uh, we said that he sold himself, and Allah purchased in chapter 9, verse 111. Chapter 9, verse 111. And that always reminds me of the emergency number 911. So this seems like an emergency that you put yourself up for sale and Allah snatch you up right away. He bought you right away. 911. Just like you call 911, I'm for sale. Yeah, Allah tuned in and got you and bought you. And so it says, surely Allah has bought from the believers their persons and their property, their persons and their property. Do you understand what that says? Their persons, meaning their whole being, and then their property in case you got stuff. You got stuff. It's not that I'm just gonna buy you and then later on you got all the stuff and eventually if I decide I don't want you no more, you come back to all the stuff you have. No, you'll come back to nothing. I'm buying you and your stuff, so you have nothing. You're totally, solely dependent on the purchaser, on me, on Allah. Theirs in return is the garden. For that sale, you're getting the garden. And what you do as a result of that, you fight in Allah's way so that they slay and they are slain. You fight in Allah's way when the cause comes, like over in Gaza, different places in the world, and people are fighting for their liberty and for their children and their honor and their dignity and their right to freedom. So you fight the oppressor, the aggressor. You're not just starting things, you're defending. This is a self-defense. So you fight and you slay people and you are slain. This is a hard talk, but that's what it is. And they're slain. It is a promise which is binding on him, on a law, in the Torah and the Injil and the Quran. It's a binding on him in all places. You're going to find that somewhere in those scriptures. This idea of Allah having bought you and you sold yourself and you fight and slay in the way of Allah. And who is more faithful to his promise than Allah? So you can't say Allah won't keep his promise. Nobody's more faithful in keeping promises than Allah. So look what Allah says. Rejoice therefore in your bargain. Rejoice therefore in your bargain. I get chills almost every time I say it. Rejoice therefore in your bargain. This is a bargain, something that you get more benefit out of it than what it cost you. You see, you got more benefit, you got more out of it than you put into it. That's what a bargain normally is, which you have made. And that is a mighty achievement, a mighty achievement. Now, here somebody's talking about don't call yourself a slave. You're a slave. You're a slave of Allah. That's the highest honor that you can get being from Allah as you relate to your Lord. And I'm saying that that's what it means in 51:56, where Allah talks about He created men and jinn to abadu, to be slaves of His. And when He says that you will die and you will return as a slave, that we're not going to relitigate that argument again. But let me point out something that Brother Shuaib did. And Brother Shuaib, in his translation of the Quran, do you have it there, brother? His translation of chapter 2, verse 178. Chapter 2, 178. Let's see the heebie-jeebies. The heebie-jeebies, whatever that means. That's some old folks talk. He's calling me the old man and using I haven't heard the word heebie-jeebies in 70 years. Almost. Where'd you get that word from? Heebie-jeebies. But anyway, in chapter 2, verse 178, he uses the word El-Abdu, El-Abdu, and he translates it as the slave, El-Abdu, and it's up there in his Arabic text. The slave, El-Abdu, the slave. He translated it as the slave, El-Abdu. Aleph, Lam, Ain, Ba with a sukoon, Dal with a dhamma. That's the markings. Al-Abdu. That's the way he translated the slaves. He translated, and he uses it himself. Well, the same identical word with the same identical markings on it, vowel markings, Aleph, Lam, Sukoon, Ain, Ba, with Sukoon, Dal, is used in chapter 38, verse 44. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at his translation. The same identical word, no different. No different in spelling, no different in marking. Al-Abdu. And it talks about Job. And it talks about Job, what? The slave, the slave. Allah says the slave. But he chooses there to use servant. He doesn't want to use slave there. He uses servant for the same word. Now, servant and slave is not the same. It's not the same. A servant and a slave is not the same, although they both serve. They both serve. But one is a slave. He has no option. He gives up his autonomy to not serve. So Shaitan was also one of those who served, but he had autonomy, and he gave it up and decided, no, I'm not going to serve. I'm not going to, you asked me to bow down to Adam. I'm not going to bow down. I'm not going to prostrate. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to use my autonomy that you gave me, even though I'm a slave. I'm going to use the freedom of choice and choose not to bow down. So, uh, anyone who chooses not to bow down, chooses to use their autonomy when it comes to a law, submission and surrender to a law, well, then you're doing like Shaitan. You're of the party of Shaitan. So there's the same word, identical word. And then look at chapter 38, verse 30. Chapter 38, verse 30. Aleph, Lam, Ain, Ba, Sukun, Dal, Dhamma. It's the same word. He chose to put servant. He chose to put servant, not slave. Solomon, our slave. Three words, all spelled the same, all the same. One is clearly, by the context, slave, but he chose to use servant because he knows now that that would make slave valid, and therefore the argument that I put forth would be valid and his argument would be invalid. I'm not going to, like I said again, go through that whole thing again. I just wanted to point out the inconsistencies as I'm going to point out some more of his inconsistencies and lies and hypocrisy also. Now, somebody might say, well, brother, why don't you stop now? How long you going to keep doing this? The brother didn't talk about you the last time when he gave his Zoom. I said, well, no, he didn't talk about me. He didn't talk about much of anything. But he talked about me before that. But I don't care nothing about it. I already told him what the deal is here. Once you started with me, you open up a can of worms that just ain't gonna be capped. You can't put the cap back on this toothpaste. You can't put the toothpaste back in this tube. You've got let it out, and so there it is. And so now what I promised you, I'm keeping my promise. You can do whatever you please, but I'm gonna be on you constantly to show that you're a liar. Now, I'm calling you a liar now because I'm going to show you that. And you're a hypocrite, and you're a mushrik, and you're Sunni also. You're a Sunni Muslim. You're all of that. And so we're going to establish that. Now, this is before my topic. I have a big topic I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to get to it. I just want to wash him out. I said I have some house cleaning to do, and used part of the title for this YouTube. Uh, Shuaib throws in the towel. He throws in the towel. And what did I mean by throwing in the towel? Do you have, brother, an example of where that concept comes from? Throwing in the towel. It's a term that's used in the boxing world when their opponent, when their fighter is being beat down so bad that he can't answer the bell any further, but he has the will to try to keep fighting, but the referee or the manager or the trainer or all together, they agree, the doctors, that this man can't continue on. He's taking such a beating. So they have a white towel that they throw into the ring. Let's take a look at this.
Up against a two-weight world champion, and the corner man is bang out of order.
Well, that's an absolute shocker. And he was the most shocked person in the whole arena. I mean, Burns looked disgusted as well. And you said it absolutely right, Jim. I mean, he was giving it everything he'd got. I mean, okay, he misses horribly with the right hand, and then the towel comes in.
It simply wasn't.
The towel, and they threw in the towel.
I mean, he's amazed.
They threw in the towel. And the guy caught it. He caught it. He's like, what? And the guy standing there, the guy in the red trunk's like, I'm glad you did that because I'm getting ready to slaughter this guy. So they threw in the towel. They said, nah, don't keep that going. It's pitiful. Now let's see another video to show you exactly what that language means in the boxing world. Let's take a look.
What does throwing in the towel mean in boxing? Have you ever wondered what happens when a boxer is in a tough spot during a fight? Let's dive into a phrase that's become a part of our everyday language: throwing in the towel. In boxing, when a fighter is taking a beating and can't continue, their corner might decide to end the fight to prevent further injury. This is where the phrase throwing in the towel comes from. The corner team will literally throw a towel into the ring to signal to the referee that they are conceding the fight. This tradition has its roots in the early days of boxing. Back then, sponges were used to clean the fighters' faces between rounds. If a fighter was in bad shape, their corner would throw the sponge into the ring to indicate they were giving up. Over time, the sponge was replaced with a towel, which is easier to see and more dramatic. When the towel is thrown, it's a clear sign that the fight is over, and the other boxer wins by default. This action is not just about quitting, it's about protecting the fighter from more harm. Today, this phrase has moved beyond the boxing ring. When someone says they're throwing in the towel, it means they're giving up on something, whether it's a project, a job, or any challenging situation. So the next time you hear this phrase, remember its origins in the world of boxing and the importance of knowing when to stop to avoid further damage.
Okay, so listen to that. The importance of knowing when to stop to avoid further damage. Now, Shuaib knew when to stop because I challenged him, and we're going to take another look at this challenge. This little beef has been going on 5 weeks, if not 6 weeks, when he put up those 10 things about who Brother Hamza is, and he put up 10 things, and I answered the 10 things in one sitting, all of them, and dealt with it. He's had 5 to 6 weeks, and he hasn't done any one of them. But okay, let's take a look at chapter 3, starting at verse 58 to 62. Let's put up chapter 3, 58 to 62, and I'm going to show you why he has thrown in the towel. And wisely so. Wisely so. No one could help him. Not his manager, his agents, his trainers, his minions that raw him on, rah rah rah, baba baba baba. We love you. They couldn't help him, so he had to throw the towel in. He had to throw the towel in. Let's take a look. It's from the Quran right here. Now, I tried to be nice with him. I tried to be nice with him before. Let me just change my glasses so it's better reading for me. Uh, it's better for me to read than to be profiling. uh, Now, I tried to be nice to him when I first made this challenge. I said, look, I'll challenge you because we talked about, he said that Jesus was born without a father. And I told him how serious that is. There's nothing more serious on this planet or will ever be on this planet than to say that Jesus was born without a father. That's the greatest calamity that anyone could utter out of their mouths on this earth until the day of Qiyamah. Nothing greater, nothing greater. So, and I said before, I said, okay, I'm sure about what I did because why? I put up a video on it and I laid it out clearly what my argument was. I've been doing it for years. And I said, okay, but let's just you and I make this challenge. Let's not put our kids in it and our families in it. Let's just make it between you, man to man. You see, you didn't take that challenge. You didn't do it. And then I thought about it later on while I was doing some research on something, and I ran across the verse where it says, O messenger, deliver what has been revealed to you from your Lord. And if you do it not, you have not delivered his message. So I said, wow, I'll be guilty of that. I didn't deliver Allah's message. I altered it to try to make it easier for the brother to accept it and not having to put his family, his children, and so forth on the line, uh, just me and him. But no, I'm going to go back and do just what Allah said to do. That's what I said before. And let's read it. Let's read it. Chapter 3, verse 58 to 62. And this is why I say you threw in the towel. 58. This we recite to thee of the messages of the reminder full of wisdom, the likeness of Jesus with Allah, is truly as the likeness of Adam. He created him from dust. Then he said to him, Be, and he was. Be, and he was. Continue. This is, in brackets, the truth from thy Lord. So be not of the disputers. Be not of the disputers. 61. Whoever, what? Whoever then disputes with thee in in this matter, after knowledge that has come to thee, say, this is what you say, come, let us call our sons and your sons, our women and your women, our people and your people, and let us earnestly pray and invoke the curse of Allah on the liars. That's what Allah said to do now for this matter. What? After the clear proof has come to you. Now, I put up a video before Shuaib got a chance to talk about this again. I put it up on my channel, and it's up on my Facebook channel. It's up on my YouTube channel. Uh, the misconception of the conception of Jesus. I threw in sprinkle in a lot of little virgin birth arguments and different little things. I thought maybe he might want to look at them and consider them. It's not everybody holding that position that Jesus had no father, one thing after the other. Certainly not many of the Orthodox Jews, as they call themselves, Bani Israel. They ain't got none of that. Uh, so forth and so on. But I put up the argument. There's the argument right there, Brother Hamza, the misconception of the conception of Jesus. You can see it right there online. And I was thanking the brother for doing it. So now when we get back to the verse, it says, whoever then disputes, you want to dispute with thee in the matter of Jesus having a father or no father, after you got this knowledge, you ain't made no videos, Shuaib. You didn't make a video about Jesus having a father. Why didn't you come and make a video to show that Jesus has a father? Because there's no way in the Quran you could collect any information to make such a statement. There's no place. So you're just in denial. So after the knowledge that come to you, say, come, let us call our sons and our women and your women, our people and your people, and let us earnestly pray. Let's be serious about it. Prayer. And invoke the curse of Allah beyond the liar. Now I told you I was ready to do it then and there on the spot. You can call in on my Zoom and wake your behind up during the night, whatever time it is. Hamza Zoom comes on a certain part of the time in the world. Let me set my alarm just to come on and take that challenge. Or you can call me while you're on and say, Hamza, I know you're looking because you said you're trolling everything. So come on right now and we'll take the challenge. You refuse to. You back down because you're a liar and you're afraid. You're afraid to take that curse. You're afraid to do what Allah told you to do. You won't do it. And then next verse says, surely this is the true account, and there is no God but Allah, and Allah, He surely is mighty, the wise, the mighty, the wise. So now you refuse to take that challenge. That means you threw in the towel. You threw in the towel. You wouldn't take this challenge. All you had to do was take it, and then let Allah sort it out. Let him sort it out. If you was true about what you were saying and you laughing and making jokes and all of that, such a crucial thing that Allah would make you take a challenge like this on behalf of it. Nothing like that in the whole of the Quran, in the whole of the world, in the whole of anybody's scriptures. So serious, and you refuse to take it. And I try to sweeten it up for you, but now I'm putting it back to the whole thing. Your daughter, your son, your children, everybody's involved. Step up and take it if you're not a liar. Step up and take it earnestly that Allah curse you and your children if you're lying. Or at least, well, put up a video showing your argument because I got mine. So you've thrown in the towel, and far as I'm concerned, it's too late now. It's on you. And Allah is going to curse you whether you took this challenge or not, because that's what you're saying. So you're going to be cursed, and you are cursed. You are cursed. Okay, so let's end with that. I'm pissed off with that. You see, I'm pissed off with that because why? Because you talk too much, run off at the mouth, and then I put you through what Allah told you to do, and you punked out like a little weasel. Like a weasel, you ran. You and all of your people over there that rile you on, they can't even help you. Nobody could help you. If somebody probably told you, brother, don't do that. I'd be surprised if nobody told you that. If not, you better check your company and check your friends. If nobody told you, don't you do that. Don't you do that. You don't have that kind of knowledge. You don't know what you're talking about. The brothers proved that to you. Brother X, he proved it to you. This brother proved it to you. Tariq came on the other day, getting ready to slam you with it, and you ran away. Shafiq tried to hit you with it, and you shouted him down and deflected that and all that. You've been hearing this. You saw it. But you saw my video, and you saw it, and you said, oh, I can't overcome that. So now you threw in the towel, you chumped out like a little weasel, and you're done. I don't care what you say. What are you saying now? The old man, Papa, and you need to go to sleep. And some of your people running off at the mouth, even about this lecture I'm going to give today, talking about we're never going to stop our Salah. And you even heard the lectures. That's how brainwashed you are, how stupid you are. How stupid you are. And I'm using the word stupid because I'm going to ask my brother Tariq to come on later on during the question and answer time and maybe elaborate a little bit on that word stupid. Big word. Big word to be stupid. Stupid, not heebie-jeebies. Stupid. And so that's what you are. Now, regarding debate, you said, what? And another thing, before I get to that, this brother Anwar Sheikh, why are you messing with him? Now you called him out the other day, Anwar Sheikh. He ain't bothered you. The man hasn't bothered you. Very mild man, soft-spoken man, educated man, well versed in his department of expertise. You're not no match for him. You're not a match for him, but yet you had to call him out about something he said. He didn't bother you. And so, since you was talking about, well, brother Hamza, you should have came to me and talked to me on the low, and we ironed this out. Why didn't you go to Anwar Sheikh and talk to him on the low and get that straight? He's your elder. Why didn't you go to him? Why didn't you call him up and say, brother, I disagree with you on something, so on? Why'd you have to call him out on your video? You just had to mess with him. Now, Dr. Moses is back on the scene, and he's rocking again. Let's see you mess with him again. You know you don't want to tangle with him. You know you don't want to tangle with him if you're talking about knowing Arabic and one thing after the other, the same with Anwar Sheikh and so forth. I don't know any Arabic. I'm going to beat you with the clear English understanding and let the English speaking people know that you make these arguments and beat them down, Arabic or no Arabic. You can't overcome this, period. You translate it back into Arabic. Doesn't matter. Whatever language you speak, that's the language the law is going to guide you in. He's going to guide you in your language. And so it doesn't matter. You act like you're the only one. Allah has guided me and taught me and blessed me and blessed me. You're the only one on the planet Earth that Allah has guided and blessed. Nobody else. Nobody else. Nobody else could be guided and maybe that you're wrong and they're right. No, it's just you. Well, you're wrong on this and you are a coward on this. But now, in chapters regarding chapter 16, verse 98, I called you out for a debate on that. Do you have that you can play it? I called you out to debate you on this, and you didn't respond. I said I'd debate you on 1698, and you didn't respond. See if I can find my definition. I wrote it down of ritual. I did a lot of last minute stuff here, so I'm a little discombobulated, but we'll get it together. let's look at it. So I told him that last time we talked about this issue, I told him that the word karata in chapter 16, verse 98, he made a big issue because I said 1968 and all that. So he made a big issue like that, like I'm slipping, which, you're getting old and you're slipping, that kind of insinuation. But that's no problem. I'm not immune for misquoting things, but as long as my concept is there and it's backed up with what I'm talking about, there's no problem there. So now look, I said that in that verse, 1698, could you put it up on the screen, my brother? $16.98. And basically, the meaning of a ritual is a sign or a symbol. A sign or a symbol. If you go to Lisan al-Arab or Lane's lexicon, he said William Edward Lane uses the Greek Arabic or whatever, and so he thought that was something to make light of. So I'm quoting also from Lisan al-Arab, and I have now this definition, I believe, of ritual here. Yeah. So anyway, you got it on the screen. So it says, so when you, the word there is when you is a recite, koratna. That's a perfect verb. That's a perfect verb in the perfect tense, can never be present or future. Ever in anybody's grammar, in anybody's language that I know of, a perfect verb means the action has already been done. You're not about to do the action. The action is done. That's what a perfect verb is. Now, if it changes like that, the whole Quran is just going to be unrecognizable. When you come to verses and they're perfect verbs and you want to say, no, it's not, the action is going to happen in the future. He tried to make some situation where it could be future and all that. Well, I'm going to challenge him to a debate on this issue here. I'm going to challenge you when I finish with this here to a debate on this. You and I can debate. I'm going to give you a little smattering of it now so you can see where I'm coming from. It's something I don't normally do. If I'm intending to debate somebody, I don't tell them nothing about what I'm getting ready to talk about. I hit them with it right on the spot so they can quiver and shake in their pants right there on the spot. I don't give them a chance to look at nothing and find out something and be ready for me. I hit them right on the spot. But I'm going to be kind to you since you call yourself being kind to me. And I'm going to tell you some little things that I'm intending to work with here. And then I'm challenging you to a debate. We can set up a debate and we can debate 1698. We'll debate that here. So now the perfect verb is there. All right, we don't have to litigate that again. You see, I challenged you to a debate on 1698. You never took me up on it. Send your people over here. Let them come over to my ha ha ha. You laughing and all that. Let them come over here and what you'll do to them. And I challenge you. You didn't take it up because why? Because you got no argument. You're weak. You have nothing. You have nothing. And out of all those 10 points that you put up to show who Brother Hamza was, doing me such a blessed, great favor. I could never have thought to do that myself, and backfired on you so terribly that you'll never get over this. You will never get over this. You will never get over this unless you retract all of that and then come forward and say that you were wrong once you get a little older with a little more wisdom than what your young self has now. Talk about the young men. You're not wise enough right now. So once you get wiser and look back on your mistakes, you'll say, damn, that was a terrible mistake. Oh Allah, please pardon me for that and turn back. Maybe Hamza's here, maybe he's not, he's gone, but he was right. But meanwhile, you didn't have the courage to take up on that debate. Now, you talked about the 10 points. the scare people away from Hamza in case you let me show you who Hamza is in case you don't know who he is, and so forth and so on. So you know what those 10 points are. I have them right here before me. No religion in the Quran. The Fatiha is not from the Allah. Jesus has a father. The Quran is not inspiration. Not reciting the Fatiha. No need recite A'udhu Billahi. No rituals according to him. Meat is the pork is halal according to me. He said, this man says if you are servant of Allah, then you're a servant of the devil and physical bow and all that kind of stuff. You put all that stuff up. I answered each one of those questions based on the Quran, and I'll also use chat to back me up and slayed you with that, so much so that you couldn't open your mouth to come back with not one thing, not at all. So now we're going to move on, and I'm going to look at some other stuff here. But let me just state this little quotation I have here. Uh, uh, the once Al Gore, the brother who was running for president one time, he made a statement or something about an inconvenient truth. And I'm saying here's another inconvenient truth that's in the Quran in chapter 56, verse 77 to 81. Can you put that on the screen? 56, 77 to 81. This is an inconvenient truth for a brother like Shuaib, who goes around selling T-shirts, hats, and cups and spoons and begging for money, begging for donations and all of that. When he had $3,000, I had him up to $3,000 gift, free gift that he could just answer the question from the Quran. You didn't have to come up with no wonder, no thing that you had to just show the Quranic verse to show that I was wrong. Show the Quranic verse. For each one of those points, I would give you $3,000 US cash. You could feed the people in the Ramadan with that instead of the little $2 donation that your people give you. Oh, I see that. Thank you for the $2. $2. I can find $2 if I walk down my block and look on the curb. I'll find $2 laying on the curb. $2. I can find that right there in the street. If somebody gave you $2, I'm giving you $1,000 for each question just to bring it from the Quran and answer it. And I got you up to $3,000 and you ain't accept not one of them. And so what does it say in chapter 56, verse 77? After Allah speaks about the Quran, he says, surely it is a bounteous Quran and a book that is protected, which none touches save those who are purified ones, a revelation from the Lord of the world. Is it this hadith that you disdain? Is it this Quran, this hadith that you disdain, and what you make your denial your means of sustenance? You make your denial of this Quran alone your means of making money. This Quran alone your means of making money. So when you talked about A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, it's not in the Quran. When you talked about Allahu Kabir, it's not in the Quran. When you talked about uh, the you said something about uh, I testify. I bear witness, rather. You use the term I bear witness. I bear witness is nowhere in the Quran. There's no such term as I bear witness in the Quran anywhere. So these are places that you're getting from the Sunnah. You're getting that from the Sunnah. And you're doing that to appease people and making people support you one thing after the other. And I'm going to ask you some tough questions about that in a few minutes. But here, it is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. Look at that. It's difficult to get a person to understand something when their salary depends on them not understanding it. And that's what's happening here. You won't understand because your salary depends on you not understanding. So it's difficult. You're making money. You're making money. You're making money. You're a hustler. You know, I'm calling you out. You can not talk about me or whatever. I'm on you all the time. Like I said, you can run off at the mouth about the old man need to go to bed, go to sleep, and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm riding you. I'm in your head now. You're not the same person. Everybody, I've been getting people telling me Shuaib is not the same person. He's not the same person. He's different. You can see the fear in Shuaib. Just the idea to know that I done set up shop in your head. I got free board, free room and board in your head. I never thought I could find free room and board. I'm just living up in there and just jamming you all the time. You thinking, what am I gonna say? Hamza gonna pick up on it or what? You're thinking about that. Don't lie and act like you're not. And you talked about you've been doing this for about 15 years. That's when you met me. And you talked about, well, Hamza used to put my stuff up on his channel, and he used to talk good about me and all that kind of thing. So he must have been liking what I was doing. Yeah, I was liking what you was doing because you was doing what I did, what I taught you to do, and that's why I was liking what you were doing because you was doing what I taught you to do, what you learned from me. You ain't learned nothing. You ain't did nothing new. In 15 years, you haven't did nothing new. You just been doing the same stuff over and over again. So when I saw you doing that and you called me and we talked about all that kind of business like that, I said, okay, let me support the brother. Let me support him. Let me put it up on my channel and help him get out, get some recognition. And I'm the one who said support everyone who has a channel coming from the Quran alone, whether you actually agree with everything they say or not. As long as they're bringing their understanding from the Quran alone, I said support them. I'm the one who said that. I'm not jealous and envious of you of what? What in the world would you have to be for me to be in jealous of and envy of? Not one zero thing for crying out loud. I'd be more jealous of a little poodle dog that I saw walking down the street with a little sweater on and little booties on. I said, "Oh, what's a cute doggy? Oh, the lovely doggy." I'd be more jealous of that than you. You for what? You copied your stuff from me, my man. And so if you don't say it, you're just a liar. That's all. But anyway, we said the rejoice in the bargain that you made. I love that that brother did that, and that that brother is an African brother sitting there reciting the Quran, reciting Arabic, not playing some fancy music and dancing around and joking and laughing and grinning and fall out of the chair, saying something real serious. And I thought that that was something that Allah had blessed me to come upon, and I'm going to continue to use that for a while. Now, you said you just made a video. You just made a video and you released your video about the Salat thing. Uh, I looked at it and I was going to match it with the other, but times, well, I procrastinated. It's my fault. And I just laid around too comfortable, too chilling out, waiting for the day and this bigger picture that I was going to deal with. So I didn't critique it, but I am because my Salah argument is going to be ongoing also. It's not, I'm going to talk about this day after day after day, inshallah, Zoom after Zoom, until I get down to a place where I'm comfortable that everybody understands that Salah is not a ritual, it's not a prayer. It's not a ritual, it's not a prayer. I'm going to make that clear from the Quran, period. But until then, you were told in chapter 17, verse 111, 17, 111. What does it say over there? 17, 111. 17, 111. And say, we'll look at verse 10 first. Say, call on the law or call on the beneficent. By whatever name you call on him, his are the best names. It says the best names. And utter not your salah loudly, nor be silent in it, and seek a way in between. We've talked about this over and over again. I'm not going to go through all of that. When I break down the salah argument again, maybe I'll come back to this again. But I got this stuff already up on YouTube. You can go look at my Salah argument and see what it's about and all that. But Allah tells you and say, praise be to Allah, and say, Kul, Alhamdulillah. Cool. Allah says, say Alhamdulillah. That means when you say it, you're saying what Allah said. In Fatiha, ain't nobody said, say Alhamdulillah. It's just somebody said it. But here it's different. But that maybe is out of your range right now. I'll break all that down later on. Say what? Say, praise be to Allah who has not taken to himself a son. Say it to who? Say it to Allah? No. Say it to somebody else. You don't say that to Allah, who has not taken to himself a son. And this is what we're going to come into in a few minutes, because you said that that Jesus had no father, and Sam Samoon told you that, well, somebody put that X chromosome there. So whoever put that Y chromosome, whoever put that Y there, that's the father. So Allah says, no, he has no father. He has no son, rather. He has no son, and who has no partner in his kingdom, and who has no helper besides because of weakness, and proclaim his what? This is the point. Proclaim his greatness, magnifying him, magnifying him. So you said in your Salat tutorial, or the new thing that you got out, that you recite the Fatiha. So I'm going to indict you on that. I didn't get a chance to critique it, but just that, I'm going to indict you on that. And you said Allahu Kabir, Allahu Kabir. There's no such attribute of Allahu Kabir in the whole of the Quran. Nowhere. You'll never find it nowhere, Allahu Kabir. As a matter of fact, magnifying, that's not even as much as Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar would be magnifying more than that. And you definitely reject that. So you'd have to skip over that and go to Allahu Al Akbar or Allahu Al Kabir. But you didn't even go that far. You kept it that Allahu Kabir, made up your own thing, an attribute that's not even in the Quran. So in chapter 12, verse 40, I'll read it. You don't have to put it up, but you can if you want, just to make sure that we got it right. Yeah, let's keep everything up front. Let's put it up on the screen. Uh, if it takes some time, it'll take a time. You read it, but it's there. I want everything to be backed up with a verse of the Quran. So, chapter 12, verse 40. What does it say? Chapter 12, verse 40. You serve besides Allah. You serve not besides him, but names which you have named. You have named. What name? You have named. Allahu Kabir. That's the name you have named. You and your fathers. Allah has sent down no authority for them. There's no authority sent down for Allahu Kabir. So you're indicted by Allah right there 1400 years ago, and you fell right into the trap. Now call yourself translating the Quran. That's why I said I don't believe you translated it. I believe you transmitted it. But be that as it may, that's my personal opinion. If so, why'd you miss this? How could you miss this? Allah has sent down no authority for them. Judgment is only Allah's. He has commanded that you serve none but him. This is the right deen, but most people know not. And chapter 7, verse 180. Chapter 7, verse 180. Chapter 7, verse 180. And Allah's are the best names. So call on him thereby. Call on him thereby. How are you going to know what those names are? It's the ones that's used in the Quran. Specifically, we don't know about any other name, but the ones used in the Quran, we know those names. That's not enough names to call on them by that. You got to have 99.99 or some 99 attributes or whatever, 100,000 or whatever. You don't have enough in the Quran. Allah's are the best names, so call on them thereby, and leave alone those who violate the sanctity of his names. Leave them alone, who call Allah Allahu Kabir. Leave him alone. Leave that person alone. You're violating. Allah's not Allahu Kabir, who Kabir. It's not Allahu Kabir. They will be recompensed for what they do. They'll be recompensed for what they do. So leave them alone. Leave them alone, meaning don't follow them. Don't follow that mess that they got going on. Now, when you look at uh, kabara, the verb kabara, you're going to see a step-by-step progression of the magnification of that word. The root word for kabara is kabura, to become great. The adjective is kabiran, great. And that's going to be found in chapter 4, we don't have to put it up, chapter 4, verse 34, verses and 2163. And the comparative is akbar, greater. That's going to be in chapter 6, verse 79. And the superlative is al-akbar, greatest. That's going to be in the Quran, chapter 88, verse 24. And the divine attribute that he magnifies himself is Allahu al-Kabir, the great. And that's going to be in chapter 45, verse 37. And it's going to be in chapter 40, verse 12, and so forth and so on. So we see that magnification going on there. And that's the scale, that's the way it goes up. And you didn't do it. You didn't have sense enough to do that. And so you was wrong. You was wrong. You was wrong. So you can say whatever you want. You can laugh and grin. And I think that brother Azam that you laugh at all the time and you always messing with him, he put out a video. I'm sure you saw it the other day. That brother Azam, whatever his name is, the one you say that he takes money for counseling and so forth. Well, he did a half an hour video. And in my view, that video was directed at you. He talked about people laughing at other folks, laughing and making mockery and doing too much laughing and joking. I think he was hitting at you. And I think if you asked him on the low, he would say, yeah, I had to come back at him because he talks about me all the time, laughing and joking and slapping five and breaking out and falling down, falling out of chairs, and a lot of foolishness. A lot of foolishness with no substance in your arguments. You got nothing to say to nobody that's new that will cause them to grow. Just only beating a dead horse. Here's a verse, chapter 7, verse 71. Chapter 7, verse 71. Chapter 7, verse 71. You're gonna have to wipe my eyes because this dry heat bothers my eyes. Chapter 7, verse 71. He said, indeed, uncleanness, and wrath from your Lord has lighted upon you. Do you dispute with me about names which you and your fathers have named? Allah has sent no authority for that. No authority for them. Wait, then, I too with you am of those who wait. You want to dispute about names which you and your fathers named. The whole of the invented institution of the Arab religion of Islam is predicated upon the declaration of what? Allahu Akbar. Without Allahu Akbar, you have no Islam, no religion of Islam. A name which no authority has been sent down from Allah. Allah is called Allahu Al-Kabir. So you want to dispute about names with you and your father's name. Allah has sent down no authority. Now, as regards to knowing the Arabic for salvation, that's another little something that Shuaib likes to pull off on unsuspected people. Brother, do you know Arabic? Do you know Arabic? The law, and as if a law made it mandatory that anyone must know Arabic to understand this deen. And Allah says in chapter 4, verse 14, verse 4. What does it say? 14, verse 4. 14, verse 4. You catch people off guard with this, and then they don't come back on you and quote this verse to you. And we sent no messenger, but with the language of his people. We sent what? No messenger, except with the language of his people. He had to speak the language of the people that he sent to. What's the purpose? So that he might explain to them clearly. Explain meaning via the Quran, not a separate, independent tafsir or a fatwa or and bayan, nothing separate. The Quran is self-explanatory. So once you give it in its language, and it will explain itself, that He might explain it to them clearly. Then Allah leaves in error whom He pleases, and He guides whom He pleases, and He is the mighty, the wise. So Allah didn't say nothing about needing to know any Arabic. Everybody has the message in their the messenger came with their own language. So that's another lie that you and many others try to shout people down with to keep them in the dark so that they need you. They need to come to you and you have a question and answer them. Okay, tomorrow is Q&A. Q&A. And Allah told you not to do that. We'll get to that also. And chapter 41, verse 44, what does it say? Yeah, we've been over these things before. I just want to sink them in again before I get to my main topic of the day. Do a little house cleaning again, because I'm not letting you ride. You can pass on me if you want. I'm getting you all the time. Every chance I get a chance, I'm getting you. There's no retirement. I need to go and retire. I don't do no retirement. No, as a matter of fact, I'm just coming out of retirement. 41, 44. And if we had made it a Quran in a foreign tongue, they, meaning those Arabs, would have said, why has not his message been made clear? What? A foreign tongue and an Arab? We're Arab. What are you speaking some other language for? We're Arabs. What a foreign tongue? And we are Arabs say, it is to those who believe a guidance and a healing, and those who believe not, there's deafness in their ears, and it is obscure to them. These are called from a place far away. So whoever trusts this Quran, it's a guidance for them. I don't care what language it's in. Whatever language you speak, if you trust it, it's a guidance for you. Chapter 26, verse 192 to 201. This Arabic game that they pull on you. And one day I'll do a whole lecture on this Arabic thing, this Arabic hustle that they try to hustle on you. The Arabic hustle. 192. And surely this is a revelation from the Lord of the worlds. The faithful spirit has brought it on thy heart that thou mayest be a warner in plain Arabic language, because that's what you speak. And surely the same is in the scriptures of the ancients. It is not a, is it not a sign to them that the learned from among the children of Israel know it? And if we had revealed it to any of the foreigners and he had read it to them, they would have said, they would not have believed in it, rather. Thus do we cause it to enter the hearts of those who are of the guilty. They will not believe in it till they see the painful chastisement. So everybody would be complaining because what is this language that we don't understand? Why is it not in our own language? Why is it not in our own language? Why we don't understand this? Now, here's a few points. I'm wondering, Shuaib, if you're probably not listening because you're sleepy and tired. You said the other day, "Oh, I got to go now because I'm not eating. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I'm weak, and I got to eat." You don't never hear me talking about sleepy and tired. You calling me the old man when you hear me sitting up on a lecture talking about I'm sleepy and tired. And here you sitting up there, young man, sleepy and tired. You working. You wouldn't work. What that mess you doing? You're not working. You're not working and you're tired. You sleepy? I got to get some rest. I'm dizzy. I'm snotting. I'm blowing my nose and my hands and everything. I don't know what to do. I'm giving up. Such a liar, such a phony. So here's what I'm wondering. Have you told your supporters that they are not Muslims? Have you told them that? Have you told them that if they came into this deen, the people who support you, have you asked them, excuse me, uh, how did you become a Muslim? Were you born a Muslim? And some of them are gonna say, yeah, we were born Muslims, we're born Muslims. And some are gonna say, yeah, I took my Shahada, so and so, and when I was a Sunni, so and so and so, and all that. Have you told them that that's wrong, that they're not Muslims? If you say you were born Muslim, you're not a Muslim. What, you better than Abraham? Abraham wasn't born a Muslim. He had to declare his submission. And if you took that shahadatain, that double shahada, and then you just happened to be hanging on to that as a Sunni and decided you wanted to follow the Quran alone and then get rid of that, then you never accepted Islam. And Allah told you, do not die unless you are a Muslim. Muslim, submitter. Muslim is the Arabic word, Muslim, submitter. Don't die unless that. And that you will wish that you were a Muslim. You will wish that. And that he named you Muslim before and in this. I heard you make that mistake, and I'm going to find it before when you said that Abraham was the one that named the people Muslim. I'm going to find that and pull it up for you because you're going to ask me. So I'm going to pull it up. You made a big mistake there. So have you told the people that they're not even Muslims? Have you told them? Anybody around me that I run with and hang with, or come in contact with, have discussions with them, I get that straight first. Brother, are you Muslim? Yeah. How'd you become a Muslim? When you do all this stuff, no, that's not Quranic, brother. That's not what it says. It doesn't say that. That's not how you become a Muslim. That's how I call the Shahadatain and the making of a mushrik. And that's what you are. Have you told the people that? Or are you just collecting money from them and collecting praise from them and they just sitting around ha 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 and they're not even Muslims? What kind of mess is that? And you just not correcting them? That's a disgrace. And then you made mockery about the following closely people. The following closely people. Well, I'm getting ready to bust that up for you and make you eat that lunch. And that's going to be starting at chapter 29, verse 45, where the word utlu is used. Utlu from tawalla. And that's going to be translated as following closely. I'm going to make that clear and make that argument. And now you're going to eat that lunch forever. You tried to throw somebody off the other day with wasala. Wasala, connection. Because the brother said connection, you said wasala. That's got nothing to do with Islam, with Salah at all, period. It was a red herring, and you threw the person off, and they didn't know how to come back on you and didn't know what to do with that. The verb is salah, salawa, salam, yeah. And it all means to turn towards, to follow closely. But tawalla is turn towards. But this 2945, we're going to establish that there is following closely. And that probably will be in my next lecture, the next time I talk on Salah. And I'm going to make you eat that lunch. You're going to regret ever making mockery of that, following closely. And then the other day, I think I have the video of it, you said that fasting was only for believers. Do we have that? Let's see if we can play that clip. You said fasting was only for believers. You also added in Salah. Salah is only for believing. So if you're not a believer, I don't care what you are, mushrik or whatever, listen.
Believers being in places like Alaska, Norway, Finland. Remember, one of the things that God will use to put people in hellfire, this is what it says in Quran chapter 4, verse 97. I'm going to show you some of the example. Now, look at this verse carefully. Quran chapter 4, verse 97, it says, indeed, those the angels will cause their death in wronging their souls. They, the angels, will say, in what were you? They, the wrongdoers, will say, we were oppressed in the land. They, the angels, will say, was the earth of God not spacious? Was it not spacious? Listen, Quran chapter 2, verse 185, here. Chapter 2, verse 185. And like I said, when we talk about the matters of Salat, Salat is for believers. Salat is not for everybody. Salat, the Salat God asks to establish, it is not for everybody. It's for believers. If you are a mushrik and you are doing Salat, stop wasting your time. If you are a hypocrite, you are doing Salat, stop wasting your time. If you are whatever you are, other than being a believer, you're doing Salat, you're wasting your time, because that is not the right Salat you're doing. And again, when it comes to the abstinence, Siyam, if you are not a believer and you are doing Siyam, stop wasting your time. Please, please. Go and do something else. Because you are not doing the right procedure God asked you to do. So stop wasting your time. So when we talk...
Now look at that. Look at that. Now, what kind of lunacy is that? He said, if you're not a believer, you're wasting your time, whatever you are. Hypocrite, whatever you are. If you're not a believer, mu'min, or you're wasting your time doing the Siyam fasting. You're wasting your time doing Salah. Doesn't this nut know that you cannot be a believer until you are at least first a Muslim? You have to be a Muslim before you can become a believer. A Muslim first. A believer is always a Muslim. A believer is always a Muslim, but a Muslim is not always a believer. A believer is always a Muslim. It's just like a judge is always a lawyer, but a lawyer is not always a judge. That's the way it works. Just the way it works. Now let's show the proof. In chapter 33, verse 35. If I'm quoting that off the top of my head, maybe I get it right, so he doesn't have to laugh and say, oh, he quoted the wrong verse. Chapter 33, verse 35. Let's try it and see if we can wing it. All right, we'll try 49:14 since we're here first. The dwellers of the desert say, we believe. They say, we believe. They say, we're believers, the dwellers of the desert. Say, you believe not. Don't say you believe. Say we submit. Faith has not yet entered your hearts. And if you obey Allah and the messenger, he will not diminish aught of your deeds. Surely Allah is forgiving and merciful. So the people were saying, we believe. It's saying, don't say you believe. Say you submit. Say that you are a Muslim. Don't say you're a Mu'min. Mu'min hasn't entered your heart yet. You have to come through a Muslim to get to a Mu'min, a believer. That's number one. We can go on with that. Let's take a look at chapter 33, verse 35. I just want to point out that what kind of foolishness this man is talking. And the people, nobody checks him. Lets him. Everybody goes away because you're brain dead and you're sheeple and you're just following him. And you got time to laugh at a person like me who's sharp enough to check his behind and who he's scared to death of. And you got time to laugh because that's your idol. He's your arbab. Well, too bad for that. I'm on him. So look, surely the men who submit and the women who submit, that's first. And the believing men and the believing women, that's second. You have to submit before you believe. Once you believe, you've already submitted. We can go on and on and on with that. So that's foolishness. What are you saying that a person who comes into Islam and decides he wants to be a Muslim and he don't make no salah until he becomes a believer? When does that happen? How long does that take? How long does that take before? Who tells him that he's a believer? Does somebody come down and give him a test and say, okay, you're a believer now, you can start making salah? Okay, you're a believer now. You can fast Siam. What silliness is that? How dumb can that be? Stupid can that be? And the people sit around and don't even pick up on it. These little people did shout out to so and so and shout out to so and so and shout out and tell the old man to go to bed and tell the old man to so and so. You just a bunch of stupid clowns. I wish I could say what I want to say. Just so stupid. I mean, just stupid. Stupid. How could you be that stupid? And you talking about God blessed me and God gifted me and God granted me wisdom and all that. That's some foolishness. You following Shaitan. That's some Shaitan stuff you talking here. Big time. Big time. And now you recited the new Salat that you got. I'm going to pick that apart in a minute. And next time, I'm going to pick that apart and see how it matches with what you did before and see the flaws that you either made in this one or the other one. But you said Allahu Kabir, that's wrong. And you recited the Fatiha, that's wrong. You recited the Fatiha, that's wrong. And I said before, you said something that in the Quran, the word I bear witness is in the Quran. It's not in the Quran. So what have you done? You have done chapter 25, verse 30. You have abandoned the Quran. 25:30. Put it up on the board. This is what you're guilty of. This is what you're guilty of. One complaint from the messenger to Allah, and that is the messenger will say, or has already said, My Lord, surely my people treat this Quran as a forsaken thing, mahjuran, from the word hijrah. They have abandoned, they have ran away from the Quran. They have ran away from the Quran. My people have ran away from the Quran. So now, let me see. I got some more stuff here. I got the Tawalla argument and all that, but I think I'm going to save that. I'm going to say that enough of you now. I have the Tawalla. Let me just see if I can put it up. You see, I got the Tawalla argument here that I can break you down right now with that and bust you up with the following closely people. But I'm going to leave it for now and get into my other topic. I beat you down enough with this. And I said, you threw in the towel like a coward. You ran. It's too late for you now. It's too late for you now. You ran, and the law's curse is going to get you. You can't outrun the curse. The law will get you. And so you're in a curse now for saying that Jesus was born without a father. As a matter of fact, I didn't read the other part. The other part, chapter 18. Let's read the other part. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. How could I forget that? I can't leave that out. Chapter 19, I think around verse 80 something. Uh yeah, 88. Chapter 19 starting at around 88. Because you said that Jesus had no father. So Allah says, okay, call for the curse. That's such a big one. Call for the curse that Jesus has no father. Whoever says that Jesus has no father, Allah said, call the curse be on them because they are liars. Call the curse. Somebody's lying if you said Jesus had no father. And we made that argument. But now, here's what happens now because Sam Simone, I played it for you before. He said, well, the Muslims, if you want to say that, then somebody put that Y chromosome there, and whoever put the Y chromosome there, they have to eat that lunch. They are the fathers. So look, and they say the beneficent at chapter 19, verse 88. Chapter 19, verse 88. This is the other part of it. Now, since you say Jesus had no father, somebody had to be a male contribute that Y chromosome. Whoever did it, then that's the father. And so now this is what you're saying. And they say the beneficent has taken to himself a son because why? He put the Y chromosome there. Certainly you make an abominable assertion. The heavens may almost be rent thereat, and the earth cleave asunder, and the mountains fall down into pieces, that they ascribe a son to the beneficent. And it is not worthy for the beneficent that he should take to himself a son. There's none in the heavens and the earth but will come to the beneficent as an abdan, as a slave. Simple as that. As a slave, simple as that. So now, because you suggesting that somebody put that Y chromosome there and it had to be a law because he did some miraculous breathing into Mary and some miraculous something, whatever you claim it was, he put the Y there so he has to own the sonship, the male situation of Jesus, and so that therefore he said now the heavens and earth is ready to come down on you for that part of what you said. So you got a double whammy on you for making that statement. The worst you can make in the world. There's nothing in the world greater than that to attribute to Jesus had no father. You can't say nothing worse than that. And that Allah has a son because he gave that Y to Mary. That's the worst you can do. It's the worst ever. You can't never outdo that. And so now you're locked into that. You didn't take the oath. You was a coward. You ran away. You threw in the towel. So it's game over for you with that one, whether you like it or not. Like it or not. We don't care. All right, so now let me move into the next portion of my talk, and which is my main portion for today. And maybe I'll touch on something else, but we'll see. Uh, I want to talk about, I want to establish the point that Muhammad, the messenger prophet of Allah, the messenger prophet of Allah, never in his life recited Al-Fatiha. Now, you ain't heard nobody say that before that I know of. I don't know of anybody who's ever said anything like that. But I'm saying it. I'm saying it, and I'm going to back it up from the Quran. I'm saying it, and I'm going to back it up from the Quran. And then you can do whatever you please with it. But I'm going to give you all Quranic verses. So if you want to refute me, you have to come with Quranic verses to refute me, not just sit around and make comments about the old man. He need to give it up. He need to do this and do that. Damn. I really would like to catch you face to face and blow you away. How stupid can you be? Just so stupid. Just stupid, brainwashed, just sheeple, just blind followers. We used to call them A kisses. A kisses. Not A kisses. A kiss. Not give me a kiss. A kisses. Kisses. And that's what you guys are, in my view, if I want to get street. And that's why you better be glad, Shuaib, you got up out of that little gutter talk, because I was getting ready to take you to a place that you could not survive, and they were holding me back from doing that. You don't want to talk gutter and talk low and play the dozens with me, with a person like me, a person from the hood. You don't want to do that. You ain't into that like that. So you should, the heebie-jeebies, you keep that heebie-jeebie stuff going. Don't be trying to get slick with me. But anyway, let's start at chapter 15, verse 87. My point is to show that Muhammad, the messenger prophet, never ever recited Fatiha, the Fatiha. He never recited it in his life. In his life. Now, why would that be so hard for you to believe? You believe when the Sunnis tell you that the Prophet only made one Hajj. He only made a Hajj on his farewell pilgrimage. He was living in Medina, in Mecca for 13 years or something, and then Medina for 10 years or whatever. And he's right there, and he never made Hajj. Only once on his farewell thing, he made a Hajj. What kind of foolishness is that? The man is right there and he's not making Hajj. He's supposed to be making Hajj. You can't tell us that Moses came there to make Hajj. You can't tell us that Jesus came there to make Hajj. Weren't they all supposed to be making Hajj? Did Jesus bring his followers there to Mecca at any time to make Hajj around the Kaaba? Any history of that, of Moses and all that? So why is this so complicated for you to believe? I'm going to give you the chapters and verses, and then you can do whatever you will with it. But you better not try to come up with something to overthrow these verses unless you got something real strong, or you said, brother, you misinterpreted the verses. So let's start with chapter 15, verse 87. Muhammad never recited the Fatiha. 1587, what does it say? And when I do this lecture, this argument, if I'm successful, if I establish it based on the ayats of Quran, and if I establish my case, what does that mean? That means all of your ritual prayers are down the tube. They're down the tubes. All of your fasting during Ramadan is down the tubes. All of your Hajj is down the tube. Why? Because when you go to Hajj, you have to make the Salah, and they're going to recite the Fatiha, and that's not right, and there's no ritual prayer, and the Prophet never did it, then you're doing something on some idolatry and idolatry, idol worship, and you're doing it anyway because you got Allah and Muhammad's name on the Kaaba doors, and you got that moon and crescent up there over your head, and you're kissing the Yemenite stone and the black stone, all of that, and just stone and shaitan. It's all a big pagan festival. So you're doing all that anyway. So that's going down the tube. When you break your fast at Ramadan and go make your salah, you're going to be reciting the Fatiha unless you're doing what Shuaib do and make up your own little ritual dua. Make up your own and bump your head and bounce any way you want off the wall. Just bouncing off the wall like Michael Jackson video off the wall. So now, chapter 15, verse 87. What does it say? And certainly we have given thee seven from the oft repeated and the Grand Quran. Seven from the oft repeated and the Grand Quran. These are two separate and distinct things. The seven oft repeated, the Mathani is called, Saba Mathani, something of that nature, and the Quran, and the Quran, and the Quran Azim, the Al-Quran Azim. So that's two separate and distinct things. Two separate and distinct things. I've been over this before, and if need be, I'll be going over it again. And anybody who challenged, they'll better be able to show that it's the same thing. But after I give this talk, I don't see how in the world you're going to be able to do it. So let's go. So now, that point. My argument is that Fatiha is not a surah. It's not a surah. According to the Quran, Muhammad, the messenger prophet, would never have recited it. It was what? A Jewish dua. It was a Jewish dua, a prayer for victory. For victory. It's not called the opener. It's not the opener. It's been among the choices of words from the tafsirs and the sunnahs and all that kind of stuff. But it's a prayer, a Jewish prayer. The people who made that prayer was Jewish, and I say Jewish could be Bani Israel, the Hebrews, Israelites, Jews. I don't care what name you call them. I'm not interested in that. Whichever one you want. It was those people, the people of Moses, the people of Moses. They were looking for guidance. They had been promised a prophet like Moses, and they were looking for it. And so they're the ones who made that request, and it was for victory. It was for victory over the evil. It was a guidance that would guide them and give them victory over evil of any sort and the evil oppressors that was oppressing them. Now, let's take a walk on it. Let's take a walk on it. And we have a prophet like Moses. A prophet like Moses. I'm going to take you to a couple of biblical verses so we can establish that who these people were. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. We don't have to pull this up. We don't have to pull this up. Just take a note, and when you look at this video, you go and check these verses. Do because I'm going to rock on this for a minute. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. The Lord God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee of thy brethren like unto thee, like unto me, and to him shall ye hearken. Shall ye hearken. Now I got all of this stuff busted up. I know this lecture well. I know the idea about brethren. I know the whole thing. I got it all laid out. This is a specialty of mine. And this is God talking. If this prophet like Moses refers to Jesus, it would mean that Jesus is not the Son of God, so it can't be him. A prophet like Moses, and he is raised from among the brethren, which would mean that he is an ordinary mortal, a fallible human being, not divine. According to Paul, a prophet is less than an apostle. So Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18 to 19. That was Moses speaking in 1815. Moses was speaking. Now God is speaking here in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18 to 19. You can check these verses out later. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. It's so important. This is so important that this prophet, you understand, if you don't get with him, if you don't follow him, God is going to personally be involved in that. So what is going to happen? The Muslims who quote this from Ahmed Deedat, great scholars like him, and of comparative religion, Jamal Badawi, etc., whomever, they quote these verses. They don't know that this rules out the Sunnah. There's no Sunnah. There's no Sunnah. It's only the prophet is only going to be speaking what the word that God put in his mouth, not his own personal Sunnah, and that's going to be the guidance for them. But that's another argument. We'll talk about it another time. Another time. Now, this prophecy was initiated in John chapter 19, verse 21. This is where it was initiated. And this is a record of John 19, John chapter 1, John chapter 1, not First John, John chapter 1, verse 19 to 21. And this is a record of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who art thou?" And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, "I am not the Christ." And they asked him, "What then, art thou Elias?" And he said, "I am not." "Art thou then that prophet?" And he answered, "No." Note here that there were three separate and distinct questions asked. There were three separate and distinct questions answered. The Christ, according to the New Testament, was Jesus. We know all of that. We can see Matthew chapter 8, verse 29, 16, 16 and 20, 27, 17, and John 4, 25, 26. So the Christ was Jesus. Elias, according to the New Testament, was John the Baptist. He was Elias. In Matthew chapter 11, verse 13 to 14, 17, 12, and Luke 117. That prophet, I have only one question to ask. Who was that prophet? And for that, we'll see John chapter 1, verse 21. And we'll see also First John chapter 1, chapter 4, verses 1 to 6. We'll see who that is, and many other things that we can argue with that. The point is, I just want to point out real quickly that this is where this whole business of the Jews looking for a prophet to come and bring them the complete guidance. It came out of the Hebrew scriptures into the Quran, and so they were waiting for it. Now, before I embark on this, let me give a few basic rules of evidence. Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. That's a lesson from our Christian brother in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. What? Prove what things? All things. Hold fast to that which is good. The other stuff, get rid of it. In the Quran, chapter 2, verse 111. And they say, none shall enter paradise except he who is a Jew or a Christian. These are their vain desires. Bring your proof if you are truthful. Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. Bring your proof if you are truthful. Prove all things. Everyone who makes a truth claim has to present evidence for their view. Everyone who makes a truth claim has to produce evidence for their clue, for their view. I'm the one who's making this claim that Muhammad never recited the Fatiha, so I have to bring some evidence. What kind of evidence? The first rule. The first rule of good evidence and good reasoning is not to accept a claim without compelling evidence. Don't accept a claim without compelling evidence. We want to keep our central stock of knowledge reasonably free from error. Therefore, like a jealous guardian, we set up stiff standards that the claim must pass before it earns the title or the role of true knowledge. Until it passes such a test, a claim is at best a working hypothesis. The role of the benefit of the doubt cannot be to undermine the first rule of good reasoning. Thus, it cannot require us to lower those standards. Now, the second rule. The second rule of good reasoning is extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And this is an extraordinary claim I'm making that Muhammad never recited the Fatiha. Never recited the Fatiha. So I have to have some extraordinary proof here. I can't just come with some wiki-washy kind of stuff. And the third claim, I won't read the rest of that. There's too much stuff to be reading. The third rule is that reveal scripture. No authority except that of a revealed scripture can form the basis of determining whether a certain belief is right or wrong. It is wrong always, everywhere, and for everyone to believe anything upon insufficient evidence. Most people are afraid to examine the truth of what they believe. Most people are afraid. They don't want to examine the truth of what they believe. It reminds me of the weekend morning television cartoon system, old school, that children used to watch, where another cartoon animal would run off the edge of the cliff and manage to keep running on thin air, always provided that he doesn't give into the temptation to look down. There is in some of us a real terror, a fear of looking down, of having to receive views checked against external reality. So now I'm going to attempt to bring you that type of evidence that's hardcore, that will lock in my position that I'm holding. Now, the first thing, the only guide and guidance for believers, Allah alone. Allah alone in the Quran alone. Chapter 45, verse 6. You can put that up. And we're going to read it down to verse 9. 45, 6. These are the messages, the ayats of Allah, which we recite to thee with truth. And what hadith will they then trust after Allah and his signs, his ayats? These are the ayats we relate to you in truth. What hadith after this will they accept after Allah and his ayats? Woe to every sinful liar. Who what? Who hears the messages of Allah recited to him, then persists in haughtiness as though he had not heard them. So announce to him a painful chastisement. Woe to him who hears the ayats, like you heard me recite the misconception of the conception of Jesus. And I talked about chapter 6, verse 84, right on down, and the father of Jesus and the conception, how this conception took place, and one thing after the other. You act like you didn't hear it. And when he comes to know of any of our messages, he takes them for a jest, for a joke, for such is an abasing chastisement. In front of them is hell, and that which they have earned will avail them naught, nor those whom they take for protectors besides the law, and for them is a grievous chastisement. This is guidance, and those who disbelieve in the messages of their Lord, for them is a painful chastisement of an evil kind, of an evil kind, of an evil kind. Now, we talk about hadith that leads astray from Allah's path, or anything that leads astray from Allah's path. You don't have to put these up. I'll just read them real quick. Chapter 14, verse 30. Chapter 14, verse 30. They set up equals with Allah to lead astray from his path. Chapter 9, verse 31. They take their doctors of law and their monks for nourishers, for lords besides Allah, and also the Messiah, son of Mary. Chapter 9, verse 32. They desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths. Chapter 9, verse 34. O you believe, surely many of the doctors of law and the monks eat away the property of men falsely and hinder from Allah's path. Question. What according to the Quran is it that men use to lead away from Allah's path? What do they use? Chapter 31, verse 6. And of men is he who take in exchange frivolous hadith, to lead astray from Allah's path without knowledge, and they make it a mockery, for such is an abasement chastisement. Chapter 12, verse 111. It is not a hadith that could be weakened or forged. Chapter 39, verse 23. Allah has sent down the best hadith, a book consistent repeating itself, the Occidental Hadith. Chapter 45, verse 6, we just read it. These are the verses of Allah which we rehearse to thee in truth, and which Hadith will they then believe after Allah and His ayats. And chapter 56, verse 81, is it this Hadith that you look down on with disdain and make your looking down your disdain a means of livelihood? You get paid for rejecting this Hadith. Is this what you're doing? Selling cups and spoons and T-shirts and so forth. Now we talk about the taqlid, the blind followers. The blind followers, the taqlid. The Quran strongly denounces the practice of blind following, just following something blindly because you like the advertisements, you like the way the commercial comes on. This person got a thing coming on. It sounds so great. And Baba Shuaib is so and so. Are you ready to make the challenge? And one thing after the other. It's no problem. You can do all of that. I'm just saying the substance is wrong. I don't care about all the sound effects and the theatrics. What you're saying is some BS. Simple as that. And so, what is the purpose? Well, you offset that with all that other stuff and get people all worked up the same way when they go to church and they play the organ music and all that and get you all worked up before the man start talking. And now you ready to believe just about anything. It has caused us to see and understand that the message of every messenger of Allah was bitterly opposed. Why? Because it was against the taqlid. It was against the taqlid. And let me just give you, I'm not going to read this whole thing here. I just want to give you a couple of verses. When Shuaib came to his people, they said, "O Shuaib, thou was among us a century, us a center of hopes rather. Before this, does thou forbid us to worship what we found our fathers worshiping? And surely we are in grave doubt about that which you call us." That was the Shuaib who came to his people. They said, "Hast thou come to us?" In chapter 10, verse 78. Chapter 10, verse 78. 75 to 78 is the context. They said, "Hast thou come to us to turn us away from that which we found our fathers following, taqlid, blind following, and we found our fathers following, and the greatness in the Lord may be for you too? And we're not going to believe in you. We're not going to believe in you. You want to turn us away from what we found our fathers following? No, we're not going to do that." In chapter 23, verse 24, the context 23 to 25. But the chiefs among those who disbelieved from among the people said, "He is nothing but a mortal like yourselves." who desires to have superiority over you? And if Allah had pleased, he could have sent down angels. We have not heard of this among our fathers of yore. And chapter 26, verse 74. They said, nay, we found our fathers doing so. This is what this is we're following our father's footsteps. We found them doing that. We don't care what you're talking about. We don't care what revelation you got and what you bring us. This is not what we were doing. We're going to do what we found our fathers doing. In 31:32, and when it is said to them, follow that which Allah has revealed, they say, nay, we follow that wherein we found our fathers. What? Though the devil calls them to chastisement of the burning fire? No, we're going to follow what we found our fathers. We're not going to follow what Allah has sent down. We're not following that. And chapter 43, verse 21 to 25 in context, 16 to 25. Or have we given them a book before it so that they hold fast to it? Nay, they say, this is what they say, we found our fathers on a course, and surely we are guided by their footsteps. We found our fathers, our ancestors, on a course, and we're guided by their footsteps. We don't care about what you bringing us now. And thus we sent not before thee a warner in a town, but his wealthy one said, surely we found our fathers following a religion, a ummah, and we follow their footsteps. And the warner said, even if I bring you a better guide than that which you found your fathers following, even if I bring you a better, they said, we surely disbelieve in that which you are sent. So we exacted retribution from them and then see what was the end of the rejectors. And 34, verse 43. And when our clear messages are recited to them, they say, this is naught but a man who desires to turn you away from that which your fathers worship. And they say, this is naught but a forged lie. And those who disbelieve say of the truth when it comes to them, this is only clear enchantment. And chapter 7, verse 70, they said, hast thou come to us that we shall serve Allah alone, watahu, and give up that which our fathers used to serve? Then bring on us that which thou threaten us with, if thou art of the truthful. Do you dispute with me about names which you and your fathers have named? Allah has sent down no authority for that, and on we can go on. I'm going to stop on that. I got more pages, but the point is that most people like to follow traditions, and Allah condemns traditions. He condemns anything tradition, he condemns it. He tells you to follow only what is revealed to you from your Lord, not what you found traditional beliefs among your fathers, your ancestors, or whomever. Now recite Al-Fatiha, chapter 2, verse 2. Now let's see, you got a thing of Al-Fatiha there. You can put it up on the screen. The chapter Al-Fatiha. Let's put that up on the screen so we can see what we're talking about. I'm sure everybody knows Al-Fatiha, but after today, you'll know more about it. You'll know that you need to keep your mouth shut and not recite it. That's what you're gonna know. It's not from the Quran. It's not Quran. As a matter of fact, you don't have to. Everybody knows the Fatiha. We'll pass on that. Everybody knows the Fatiha. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim Siratal Ladina An'amta Alayhim Ghayril Maghdubi Alayhim Waladdallin. And then of course they bring in their pagan statement, Ameen. I don't know where they got that from. Now, so after you recite the Fatiha, those people, I'm saying, these were the people of the Bani Israel. These were the people who was asking for that. Those are the people I just got through reciting to you of Moses, who was looking for a prophet like Moses. And Jesus said, when the Spirit of truth has come, he will guide you into all truth. And so they were all waiting for that. Jesus and his people were of the Bani Israel as well. So what is the first verse that comes right after the Fatiha? Chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. We can put that on.
Being recorded. It's being recorded.
You can put that on.
You're making.
Chapter 2, verse 5. Oh, wait, I'm hearing something. Chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. Chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. So right after the Fatiha, this is what comes when it opens.
Radio. That's the mic if you want to talk.
Uh, chapter 2. Chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. What does it say? So look how they translate it. You see, they're afraid of this. It says Aleph Lam Mim. Okay. It says Dhalikal Kitab, but they translate Dhalika as this. Dhalika means that. Dhalika does not mean this. Hadha means this. But Dhalika, that book is what it should say. It's answering the people from Fatiha now. You asking for guidance, it says that book, there's no doubt in it. It is a guide to those who keep their duty. That book, the one that you got, that means something that is further away. This means something that is close. If I said, bring me that pen, that means it's over there. If I said, what is this pen? That means it's the one I got right here. And I'll show you examples of that in a minute. Verse 3. Those who believe in the unseen and they keep up their salah and spend out of what we have given them, and who believe in that which has been revealed to thee and that which was revealed before thee, and in the hereafter they are sure. Now somebody said, look, he don't want to say Akimu Salah, Akimi Salah. He's jumping over that. Yeah, because I'm gonna blow all that mess away and lectures coming. Ain't no need me get caught up in that. You're into that now, but you'll be out of it soon because I'm blowing that mess away. So I ain't no need to try to trap me into that, but I'll say it. And if you want to say it, you say it right now. But in the upcoming lectures, all that's going down the tubes as well. Down the tubes as well. These are on a right course from their Lord, and these that is are successful. Look at that. Now, if you want to see this, you look in chapter 17, verse 89. What does it say? 1789. The Arabic word for this. It's not dhalika. It's going to be hadha. 1789. You see it? And certainly we have made clear for men in this Quran. You see? Hadal Quran. That's this, not dhalika. You see? This. Now, if you want to see dhalika or that, look at chapter 9, verse 36. We already seen it before. But look at chapter 9, verse 36. This is a couple of places, and we'll move on. Chapter 9, verse 36. So they're playing loose and fast with words because they get caught out there and get jammed up, and so they're interpolating, not translating. So you see the word that. What does it say? Valika, you see? There it is right there. You got your cursory on it. Valika. That is. Valika. That is. That is the right deen. All right, so much for that. Now, we said that the Fatiha was a prayer for victory. So let's take a look at chapter 2, verse 87 to 91. Let's take a look at chapter 2, verse 87 to 91. And don't forget, you have a whole surah. Chapter 48 is about Fatiha. It's the same verb, from the same verb. It's about the victory. Verse 1 and 2, you'll see it when you get over there. We'll talk about it perhaps. But chapter 2, verse 87 to 91. And we indeed gave Moses the book, and we sent messengers after him, one after another, And we gave Jesus, son of Mary, clear arguments and strengthened him with the Holy Spirit. Is it then that whenever a messenger came to you, whenever there came to you a messenger with that which your souls desired not, you were arrogant? And some of you gave the lie, and others you would slay. And they say, our hearts are repositories. Nay, Allah has cursed them on account of their unbelief. So little is it that they believe. Verse 89. And when they came to them, listen at this. Verse 89. Listen at this. Let this sink in. And when they came to them, that to them spoke from Allah, verifying. Somebody needs to close their mic in the background. Mute their mic. We're hearing something in the background. Verse 89. And when there came to them a book from Allah, verifying that which they have, and aforetime they used to what? Pray for victory. What's the word? Yastafatihu. Fatihu. You see it? Yastaftihu rather. Yastaftihu. That's from the same verb as fataha. There it is right there. They used to pray for victory. That was a prayer for victory against those who disbelieved. These are the Bani Israel. But when there came to them that which they recognized, when the book came to them, they was asking for it and asked for the guidance and all that, and it came and they recognized they disbelieved in it. So Allah's curses on the disbelievers. Allah's curses on the disbelievers. Evil is that for which they sell their souls. Look what they sold their souls for. When the lecture came on, the person sold their souls to Allah for exchange for the garden. Well, look what they're selling their souls for shaitan, the evil that they said deny which Allah has revealed. Out of what? Out of envy that Allah should send it down of His grace on whomsoever His servants, meaning His slaves, that He pleased. So they incur the wrath upon wrath, and there is an unbasing chastisement for the disbelievers in verse 91. And when it is said to them, believe in that which Allah has revealed, that which Allah has revealed, they say, nay, they say, we believe in that which was revealed to us only now. We don't care nothing about nothing else. It's not from our people. And we thought it was going to come from Isaac and the Ishmaelites, the Israelites, but now it's coming from the Ishmaelites. We don't want it. And they deny that which is besides that, while it is the truth, verifying that which they have, say, why then did you kill Allah's prophets before if you were believers? So there we have it. There we have it. Uh, they used to pray for the victory. That was the istifatiha that we were talking about there, and we see that there. Now the average person will look past that. They don't know nothing about that, especially Brother Shuaib. He doesn't know nothing about none of this kind of stuff. He only knows how to make mockery of the Sunnis and just keep beating the Sunnis. He doesn't come with no new argument. When have you heard Shuaib put up a new argument? A new argument that nobody heard before and said, wow, we never heard that before. He did some research and came up with a new argument. No, everything is just slapstick, a vaudeville act, you understand, a carnival barker, you understand, against the mushriks that we already done beat them to death already, and he's just constantly laughing and grinning. He has nothing new, only to sell his shirts and spoons and cups. That's all he's doing. He has nothing new to offer you at all. Can't even tell you that you're not even Muslims. Now, we said that the Prophet never recited the Fatiha. Why? Why? Why would I say that? The Fatiha cannot be recited to the people. The Fatiha cannot be recited to the people. So the Fatiha cannot be recited to the people. And that's chapter 1, verse 4. You see? It's recited. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Can't be recited to the people. The Quran cannot be recited to God. The Quran cannot be recited to God. For example, chapter 108, verses 1 to 3. You can't recite that to God. You can't recite that verse to God. You can't recite the Fatiha to a person, which if it's the Quran, if it's a surah, it must be recited to the people. And this particular verse here cannot be recited to God. Cannot be recited to God. It must be recited to the people. And now in chapter 75, verse 16, let's get rolling with some evidence. Chapter 75, verse 16 to 18. Let's put that up on the screen. Let's give some compelling evidence now that the prophet never recited Al-Fatiha. And this is what you have to overthrow this evidence, not comments, not make comments and run like some little chumps. I can't use those other words. I get sensitive for them, but you know what they are. You know what the other words are. Like you running like some little. Chapter 5, verse 16, 18. Move not that tongue therewith to make haste with it. Surely on us rests the collecting of it and the reciting of it. So when we recite it, you follow its recitation. Again, on us rests the explaining of it. We do the explaining of it. We do the explaining of it. We do the explaining of it. So Allah is the first reciter of the Quran. He's the first reciter of the Quran. Who's he reciting it to? Himself? He's not reciting it to himself. He's reciting it to the messenger via Jibril, and the messenger is to recite it to the people via Muhammad. The people were not the law. The people were not the law. The people of the Fatiha, they were not the law. They were not people. They were people, monotheistic people who believed in God, and they were not the law. Unlike Muhammad, unlike Muhammad, the messenger prophet, Muhammad, before he was the messenger prophet, Muhammad was the law. He was the law, not expecting the book, didn't know what the faith was of the Ghafileen. Let's prove every point. He was the law, chapter 93, verse 7. He wasn't of the monotheistic people. The people of the Fatiha weren't the law people. They said, Garul Maghdubi Alayhim Waladhdallin. They didn't want to be of the law people. They believed in Allah. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Thee alone we beseech, and thee alone we beseech for help, for guidance and help. Muhammad was not like that. He was the law. He was not expecting the book to come to him. He didn't know what faith was, and he was of the Ghafilin. The law, chapter 93, verse 7. Did he not find thee an orphan and give thee shelter? That's verse 6. Verse 7. And find thee groping, so he showed the way. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. وَوَجَدَكَ Jadaka Dhalan, you were Dhalan Fahada, and we guided you. We found you Dhalal, and we guided you. We found you that way. You didn't have to come and ask for guidance. We caught you while you was Dhalal, and we guided you. You didn't have to ask for guidance. You got any proof in the Quran that he asked for guidance? You'll have to find that in the hadith and all that, where he went up to the cave and he was praying in the cave, and the sun and the moon and everything was created for him, and the moon split and shunned and made prostration to him, and the mountains fell down. All that messes in hadith, sirah, and fiqh and tafsir books is not in the Quran. In the Quran, you were the law when Allah rolled up on you. When Allah rolled up on you in figurative speech, you were the law. You were astray. You are astray. You are astray. Now let's look at the other point. What's another point I said? You were not expecting a book. Let's look at chapter 28, verse 86. And the context is going to be 83 to 88. Let's put up the context so we make sure we get in the full blast of this. Chapter 28, verse 86. Let's start at 83 to 88. That abode of the hereafter was assigned to those who have no desire to exalt themselves in the earth, nor to make mischief. And the good end is for those who keep their duty. Whoever brings good, he will have better than it. And whoever brings evil, those who do evil will be requited only for what they did. Verse 84. He who has made the Quran binding on thee, excuse me, will bring me back to a place of return. Say, my Lord knows best, him who has brought the guidance and him who is in manifest error. Verse 86, and thou did not, here's the point, thou did not expect that the book would be inspired to thee. And the worst word there is not inspired, it's revealed to thee. Inspired is ilham. We'll talk about that again some other time in the revelations that we're going to talk about. So on, one thing after the other. We're inspired right now for the sake of smooth sailing. You didn't expect that the book would be inspired to thee, but it is a mercy from thy Lord, so be not a backer up of the disbelievers. Don't back up the disbelievers. And verse 87, and let them not turn thee aside from the messages of Allah, and call men to thy Lord, and be not of the polytheists. 88, and call not with Allah any other God. There is no God but He. Everything will perish except He. His is the judgment, and to him you will be brought back. So you didn't know, you weren't expecting the book. Allah caught you the law. You wasn't expecting no book. You wasn't up in no cave praying, and angels coming to you every night, and you running and talking about this and talking about that, and one thing after the other, and the horizon and one thing after the other. The Quran says you wasn't expecting no book. What happened and all that, that's your business. It's not mine, but you wasn't expecting the book and you were the law. Let's see the other point we brought up. The other point was Muhammad was of the unaware. He was the Ghafilin. You was of the Ghafilin. That's not a good term. Chapter 12, verse 3. Let's look at chapter 12, verse 3. Context 1 to 3. That's not something nice. You are the Ghafilin. Not nice position to be in. Aleph Lam Ra. Is that what it is? Let me see. Aleph Lam Ra. Yeah, right. These are the verses of the book that make manifest. Surely we have revealed it in Arabic Quran that you may understand. We narrate to you the best of narratives. In that we have revealed to thee this Quran, though before it thou was of those unaware. You were of the last word there, Gafilin. You are the Gafilin. Not a nice place to be. We can talk about it. You was of them, the Gafilin. So now, the Quran is a game changer for you. The Quran changed all of that. The Quran changed all of that. You were all in those bad positions. The Quran came and changed all that. Now let's run through some verses and I'll be out of here in a minute. Chapter 2, verse 185. June 8, you can post these verses for me now, one at a time. 2, 185. 2, 185. 2, 185. The month of Ramadan, that in which the Quran was revealed, a guidance to men and clear proofs of the guidance and the criterion. So whoever of you is present in the month, he shall fast therein. And whoever is sick or on a journey, he shall fast a like number of other days Allah desires ease for you, and He desires not hardship for you. And He desires that you should complete the number of days, the number, and that you should exalt the greatness of Allah for having guided you, and that you may be of those who give thanks. So the month of Ramadan is where Allah guided you, that you may thank Allah for having guided you. You see it? That's guided you. That's past tense. You see the word guided? You don't have to ask for guidance. The Quran came and you thank Allah for having guided you. You see it down there, right? That's guided you. That's past tense. He's guided you, not guiding you, not guiding you. He guided. The job has been done. He guided you. You thank Allah for that. Chapter 6, verse 162. So he wouldn't have recited the Fatiha because he's already been guided. The Quran is guided. He got the Quran. He got it while he was Dalal, Gafilun, unaware, one thing after the other. And now he's got it. So he doesn't have to say, Ihdina Sirata Mustaqim. He never had to say that. Allah guided him without him having to say it. And as a matter of fact, there's no place in the whole of the Quran that you'll find Ihdina Sirata Mustaqim, not one time. Not one time in the Quran, from Baqarah to Nas, you'll find Ihdina Sirata Mustaqim. Ihdina, period. Chapter 6, verse 162. What does it say? Say, my prayer and my sacrifice, my life and my death are surely for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he. This I am commanded, and I'm the first to submit. Let me see, is the verse before that? Say, 161. Say, as for me, my Lord has what? Look at that word, guided me. Can you highlight guided? As for me, I don't know about you guys, but as for me, my Lord has guided. That's already happened. Me to the right path. To the what? To the Sirat al-Mustaqim. A right faith. I got the right faith. The faith of Abraham, the upright one. And he was not of the polytheists. My Lord has guided me. I don't have to be talking about Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. He's guided. Guided is perfect verb. It's already done. There's nothing left. Chapter 36, verse 2 to 6. Muhammad didn't recite the Fatiha, asking for guidance. You have to show me the verses that he did now to overthrow this argument. Show me the verses that he asked for guidance. Chapter 36, verse 26 is getting hard now. It's getting hard on you now. I can feel you out there. Your heart is palpitating. I can feel it coming through the internet now. You naysayers and haters, y'all jam now because I'm jamming you hard, jamming your homeboy up. Because the Salat thing that he just made, reciting Fatiha, is already washed down the tubes now. Recite the Fatiha. Nobody told you to do that. You got that from the Sunni Islam. So you jam now. I just love it. I'm having fun with this. Chapter 36, verse 2 to 6. By the Quran full of wisdom. Surely thou art one of the messengers. What? Ala Sirat al-Mustaqim. You're on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. A revelation from the mighty, the merciful. A revelation from the mighty, the merciful. That thou mayest warn a people whose fathers were not warned, so they were what? Gafilun. Your fathers was just like you were, Gafilun. You were of the Gafilin, chapter 12, verse 3, and your fathers were the Gafilun. Your ancestors, all of them, pagans. They were all like that. I could take this harder and deeper if I want, but I'm going to leave it at this level. Leave it at this level. I don't have my Punisher hat on today, so I don't have to take it harder. And I got on my Batman hat, my Batman. Yeah. Somebody said in a comment, why don't he dress his age? Why he try to look young, dress his age? Such foolishness, such stupidity. Such stupidity. Dress the way I please. What's wrong with you? You go somewhere and dress your age and and think your age, what you're doing also, like some little 6-year-old, 9-year-old. Just go and keep thinking that. You don't have to worry about dressing your age. Just try to get out of that 9-year-old thinking age that you have. some foolishness. And all right, I'll leave that alone. Chapter 43, verse 36 to 45. And some of my friends, they told me, Hamza, calm down. Don't go hard on that boy. Don't go hard on him. He's not ready for that. I said, I want to get him. I want to get him hard. They said, no, don't do that. He can't handle that. I said, okay, I'll take your advice. But I want to get him. You want to play some mess with me. I'm from the hood. You're not from the hood. I don't know what kind of hood you grew up in, but you're not from the hood. You're not ready for this. Talking about heebie-jeebies. Never heard of heebie-jeebies in 70 years. Heebie-jeebies. 43, 36 to 45. Whoever turns himself away from the remembrance of the beneficent, we appoint for him what? A devil. So he is his associate. And surely they hinder men from the right way, the right path. And they think that they are rightly guided. This is what Shuaib is under the same influence here. He turns himself from the remembrance of Allah only. He's following Sunni Islam. All those 10 points that he put up for me, that's Sunni talking points. What he said, Hamza, that's all Sunni Islam. That's all from the Sunnah. And he couldn't answer none of them because he'd have to be answering from the Sunnah. So he couldn't answer them. Couldn't answer them from the Quran. Those are Sunni talking points. So what do you put up? So you turned yourself from the remembrance. And then when Allah told you to take that challenge and prove yourself right and take that challenge of pledging Allah's curse be on the liar, you backed up and you folded up like a little beach chair and you packed your tail between your legs and you ran away. You ran away like you should have did in the first place. Somebody told you, why did you mess with Hamza? Of all the people in the world, you want to go mess with Hamza? Hamza Abdul Malik, you wouldn't mess with him? Of all the people you had time to mess with, and you wouldn't mess with me. And you know my background. You know what I do. You know what I do, boys. So now I'm stuck to you now. You got me as your companion now. I'm your Sahaba. And whoever turns himself away from the remembrance of the beneficent, we appoint to him a devil. We give you a devil. He's your associate now. And surely they hinder them from the right path, and they think that they're right, they're guided aright. Until when he comes to us, he says, "Oh, would that there was between me and thee the distance of the east and the west." So evil is their associate. And as you did wrong, it will profit you naught this day, that you are sharers in the chastisement. Canst thou make the dead to hear, or guide the blind, and him who is in clear error? The law Mubin, 34:24, either we or you are on Hudan or the law Mubin. So if we take thee away, still we shall exact retribution from them, or we shall show thee that which we have promised them. Surely we are possessors of power over them. So hold fast to that which that has been revealed to thee. Surely thou art on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. You're on the right way. You're on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. You're on the right way. And surely it is a reminder for thee and for thy people, and you will be questioned. Ask those of our messengers whom we sent before thee, did we ever appoint gods to be worshipped beside the beneficent? Ask them. Ask them. Ask them. So you have a devil with you as your companion, and you think that you are rightly guided. Allah has guided me. He's blessed me. He's gifted me with wisdom. I'm special. I seen the light. One day a light shone down on me, and I was blessed. I floated across the room. And so I'm the only one. So now ask me questions. And then there's something, when you have Q&A time, there's not a question that you don't answer. There's not one question that you don't answer. How is that possible? Any question somebody asks, you answer it. You make it up, you fabricate it, you patch it together, you answer it. There's never a time you say, "Oh, I got to think about that one. I don't know that one. Maybe I would check that one out." You're going to answer every question. Every question. Unbelievable. Who does that? Chapter 23, verse 73. 2373. The prophet, we say, would not have recited the Fatiha because what? You're one of our messengers. You're on the Surat al-Mustaqim. You're on the Surat al-Mustaqim. We guided you already. We guided you already. Why would you be asking for guidance? 2373. And surely thou, what? Look at this. Look at this. And surely thou callest them to the right way. Udhum ila Siratal Mustaqim. You're calling them to the right way. How could you be calling them to the right way and standing there asking Allah to guide you to the right way? How could you be calling people to the right way as a da'i and you standing in Salah 17 times or how many times a day asking Allah to guide you to the right way? You don't know the right way. Guide me to the right way. Yet I'm calling people to the right way that I don't even know myself. Excuse me, uh, weren't you just calling the people to the Surat al-Mustaqim a little while ago when you was having a little talk with the people in the market there? Yeah. So what are you doing over here now talking about Idina Surat al-Mustaqim? What is that about? So wow, you heard me say that? Yeah. Well, don't tell nobody. I'm confused. I'm the prophet. You know, I've been chastised before about stuff. So just keep it on the low between you and I. No, I got to figure that one out. I'm glad you brought it to my attention. You calling the people to the right way. You're not asking no Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim. All right, so look, chapter 5, verse 67 to 69. Chapter 5, verse 67 to 69. Chapter 5, verse 67 to 69. What did I say? O messenger, O messenger, deliver that which has been revealed, unzila. Look at the word, unzila. Unzila. That's the word that's used in chapter 2, verse 185 for the Quran. The month of Ramadan is the Quran was unzila, sent down. So now you deliver that, what was unzila, you deliver that. That's the Quran. Deliver that which has been revealed to thee from thy Lord. And if you do it not, if you don't do it, thou hast not delivered his messages, and Allah will protect thee from men. Surely Allah guides not the disbelieving people. Say, O people of the book, you follow no good until you observe the Torah and the gospel and that which is revealed to you from your Lord, from your Lord. And surely that which has been revealed to thee from thy Lord will make many of them increase in inordinacy and disbelief because they don't want to hear that. So grieve not for the disbelieving people. Surely those who believe and those who are Jews and the Sabians and the Christians, whoever
What's
believes in
ice?
Allah
What
and
is
the
that?
last day and does
Oh,
good
your bag? Yeah.
shall
Why?
have no fear,
Why?
nor shall they grieve.
Because you're like,
So, okay. Okay. Deliver what has been revealed to you from your Lord. Deliver what has been revealed to you from your Lord. And if you do it not, you have not delivered his message. Well, all I got to do is ask you, excuse me, did the prophet, messenger, Muhammad deliver the Fatiha? Did he deliver the Fatiha? Well, if he didn't, then that's not unzila from his Lord. And what was unzila from his Lord in 2 185 was Al-Quran Al-Furqan, Al-Hudan, and it was guidance. It guided you. So the prophet did not deliver the Fatiha. So the Fatiha is not Quran and it's not something that he recited. Otherwise, he would have to have delivered it, and he didn't. So that's the end of that ball game right there. That's a big wrap for you. You got to unwrap that. So whoever's going to come against this video, you got your work cut out for you. And other than just make comments, of course, you're going to make these little. Keep your mouth quiet, Hamza. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Okay, good. You're gonna make these comments and run off at the mouth like little chumps making comments. You got nothing to say. You're not even Muslims. You're not even Muslims. You think you were born Muslim and you had that double shahadatain and all that. You're not even Muslims and you can't even do that. And Shuaib was a coward. He ran away from the challenge and all of that. So all of y'all are just a bunch of losers. Not everybody who's on his channel. No, I'm not indicting all of y'all. Just the ones who run off at the mouth and make comments who I hear you making comments. When I hear you making comments, I said, such fools. Sometimes I'll relate to you just to let you know that you're not that smart, but sometimes I'll let you go. I don't want you to think you got over on me. Answer a fool according to his ignorance, lest he deem himself wise. So I have to get on you sometime. All right, let's move on. Chapter 10, verse 15 to 16. Chapter 10, verse 15 to 16. Let's take a look at this. Chapter 10, verse 15 to 16. This is hard. This is hard on you. Hard on the mushrik is that what you invite them. It's hard on you. The prophet never recited the Fatiha. Never, ever. There's no proof of it in the Quran. The only proof you have is outside in what I give Shuaib credit for saying, your garbage books. Your garbage books. I'll give you credit for that one. That was a I'll accept that one. Your garbage books. Yeah. But you along with them, you have the heebie-jeebies. You're gonna have the heebie-jeebies when you hear this. Man, how you gonna get out of this? I don't know. It's just a one struggle after the other. One struggle after the other. Chapter 10, verse 15 to 16. And when our clear, look, not what, when our clear ayats are recited to them, those who have no hope in meeting with us say, bring a Quran other than this or change it. Say, it is not for me to change it of my own accord. I follow naught but what is revealed to me. Indeed, I fear if I disobey my Lord, the chastisement of a grievous day. Say, listen to this verse. Say, ponder this verse. You read it, but you don't ponder it. Say, if Allah had desired, I would not have recited it to you, nor would I have made it known to you. I have lived among you a lifetime before it. Do you not then understand? Do you not then understand? So I'm asking the question, excuse me, did you recite the Fatiha to the people? No. Why? Because Allah didn't desire that you recite it to them. It says, if Allah had desired, I would not have recited it to you. Well, you didn't recite the Fatiha to the people, so Allah didn't desire that. So it couldn't have been part of the Quran because you recited the Quran to the people. You recited the Quran to the people, but you didn't recite the Fatiha to them. So that couldn't have been Quran, period. That was not recited to them. That was something recited to Allah, so that ends your Fatiha being recited by the Prophet, and he couldn't have recited that. I lived among you for a lifetime. You know who I am. So that's another blockbuster to slam the lid on you hardcore. Slam the lid on you hardcore. Okay, let's move on. You got to overcome all of this weight. This is weight. I'm getting chills from it. It's too much weight. I shouldn't be putting all this weight on you like that. But that's what you asked for. And you know how I roll, how I get down. I get down with the text, with the scripture. I'll let the scripture wear you out. Wear you out. And this is not for you. This is not for Shuaib. This is not for this average Mufti Minks and these guys. These are for this lecture is for the people at Azhar University, at the universities of Medina and Egypt, the big universities. Then, of course, they said for them, they don't care nothing about you. Of course they don't. But if they ever hear this, this will indict them. They can't overcome this. If I got an audience with any of them, I would blow them away. Get a bunch of them, a bunch of muftis from Assal University. Get a bunch of them, not just one or two, some two or three or four of them, so they can collaborate together and let me ask them these questions. They'll be jammed. This is the Quran. You don't overcome the Quran. This ain't me. So translate it in your Arabic language. Translate these verses back to the Arabic, right there on the side. Put it back in the Arabic and tell me that it doesn't mean what I'm saying. Tell me it doesn't mean what I'm saying. And show me that the prophet, messenger prophet, that he recited the Fatiha to the people. Just show it to me. One verse, not two, not two verses. That take too much time. Just one verse. Just one verse. It should be easy. You should be able to do that before the cow jumps over the moon. You see, when they tell you, look, the cow is ready to jump over the moon, you said, oh, he didn't jump yet? No, he's getting ready to. So, okay, well, I got a verse for him. Once you hear that the cow is getting ready to jump over the moon, then you come with it. I'll wait until then. You don't have to wait until he jumps over the moon. Don't want to wait. Don't take too much time like that. Now, uh, I think the last one I'm going to give you here is 2791 to 93. 2791 to 93. $27.91 to 93. I am commanded only to serve the Lord of this city, who has made it sacred, and his are all things, and I am commanded to be of those who submit. And what else am I commanded? To recite the Quran. So whoever goes aright, he goes aright for his own soul. And whoever goes astray, say, I'm only a warner, one of the warners. And praise be to Allah, He will show you His signs so that you shall recognize them, and thy Lord is not heedless. Look, He's not gafilin. You see? He's not, there's the word. He's not gafilin. You see? Muhammad was gafilin, his people was gafilin, but Allah is not gafilin. He's not heedless. And the Lord is not heedless of what you do. So look, and recite, I'm commanded to recite the Quran. Did he recite the Fatiha? Recite it to who? If he's commanded to recite the Quran, recite it to who? Who's he commanded to recite the Quran to? To Allah? Allah gave him the Quran and said, recite this to me. Allah gave him the Quran and said, recite this to me. 75, chapter 75, verse 16, and right down. So when we recite it, you follow its recitation. You follow it. You follow it. But I'm commanded to recite the Quran. Recite it to who? Did he recite the Fatiha? No. No. So now let me close this out because our good brother Shuaib last week, I was surprised he played chat. He played chat quite a bit, and he acted like he was really thrilled by chat. I don't know what version he got. Some looked like some version that they give you free if you hit the balloons at the fair or something. They give you a free version, but I don't know what that was. Well, let me play some chat for you right here now on that. Chat on chapter 6, verse 114. What does it say? Is that the Fatiha? Yeah, yeah.
Fatiha parts 1 and 2 true. Based on the definitions of ilah, to, and Allah, upon, and their usage in the Quran regarding revelation and recitation, Surah Al-Fatiha does not fit either category. It was not revealed to Muhammad as a directive message, nor was it placed upon him as a responsibility to recite to the people. Thus, anyone, whether Sunni, Shia, or Quran alone, who claims that Al-Fatiha was recited to Muhammad, or that it must be recited to or upon the people, would be contradicting the Quran. Since the Quran is fully detailed, 6:114, and leaves nothing out, 6:38, such a claim would be an invention and, by the principle of bivalence, false. Fatiha Part 2 Cont. I am saying it is categorically false that Muhammad could have ever recited Al-Fatiha to Ilah or upon Allah, the people. The Quran does not describe Al-Fatiha as being revealed to him as a directive, Ilah, nor as a responsibility upon him to recite to others, Allah. Since the Quran is fully detailed and does not leave anything out, 6:114, 6:38, any claim that Al-Fatiha was recited in such a manner contradicts the Quran and is false. Thus, anyone who insists otherwise is imputing falsehood to God, 6:21, 39, 32.
Good. So now, anybody who claims that the Fatiha was recited by Muhammad and commanded to recite as part of the Quran is contradicting the clear verses of the Quran, chapter 6, verse 114 and 115, whatever it is, and chapter 6, verse 38. Contradicting those verses. We left nothing out of the book. Everything is in the book. Shall I seek a judge other than Allah when he has revealed the book fully detailed? You're calling Allah a liar. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. You're calling Allah a liar. There's your chat to back up what I did. Now, I don't go to chat to find information. I do my research from the Quran. Then I go to chat to see how smart it is, if it can outsmart Allah. So I put chat to the test and see how smart you are. And chat has to buckle and fold under the weight of the Quran and agree. But I'm not like you though. You don't want to agree. You don't want to listen. You want to follow your arbabs. You want to make comments on the side. You want to talk on the side. So now you're done. So now I got you with the verses and I got you with chat again. So now you're done. There's no Fatiha reciting the Fatiha. So all that Salah thing that you just did about standing talking about Uzu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, Allahu Kabir, and reciting the Fatiha is garbage. Garbage. Throw it all in the garbage. There's no making Salah in the Quran, no ritual prayer in the Quran, period. There's no ritual prayer. And people are trying to tell you that. They're trying to tell you that. But you won't listen because you've been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed. You've been programmed. You've been bamboozled. Bamboozled. And so you don't listen. These are the clear verses of the Quran. Now I gave you clear verses. I walked you through this here. Now, if you want to overthrow it, you got to overthrow it with verses from the Quran, clear verses like this. Put together a lecture or something and put it up. Don't run off at the mouth with a comment and some comment like some little chump, like some little chump, like some little girly man for the men, the girly men. You see, don't stand around and run off at the mouth and hate. Hate because you're idolizing a person you have made an idol. You're part of a cult. You're part of a cult. Shuaib now has become and made himself a cult leader. He's made himself a cult leader. And you're culted people. And he hasn't even told you that you're not even Muslims. What a disgrace. He won't even tell you that you're not even a Muslim. And Allah said, don't die unless you're a Muslim. You wish that you were a Muslim. He named you a Muslim. He said you can't make no salah if you're not a Muslim. You can't fast if you're not a Muslim. Not knowing that if you're a believer, you're already a Muslim. You can't be a believer without being a Muslim. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? So with that, I'm going to end this portion and now I'll go into another lecture. I got more on this. I got more information on this, but I'll save it. It's getting a little long. I'll save it. I got more information on this. I'll show it to my admin. You see, I got more stuff here, right? So he said, yes, I got more stuff here, but I'll leave it. I can keep beating you with this. I can keep beating you with this. I can go on and on, on and on. I go on and on. I do overkill, but I'll leave it. And I'll open the line up right now for some questions on this, and then I'll bring another topic. I'll bring up the topic of Ramadan. But right now, let's take some questions. And if my brother Tariq is listening, if my brother Tariq is listening, and let me give a shout out to brother Tariq and brother June 8th and brother Shafiq, Muhammad Shafiq Ali, and some of my sisters, Fatima Chen and Najet, I think her name is Najet, and a couple of other sisters, I forget your names, but who constantly always supporting me in my corner. I thank Allah for them, and I ask Allah to reward you constantly, whether I call your name out or not. And I know how sincere you guys are. But for those brothers, I want to thank them for holding me down, helping me. They know my condition, uh, and so they support me to help me get some of this kind of stuff done. And so I must applaud them greatly. So Tariq, if you're, is Tariq on?
Yeah, I'm here, Hams.
Okay, well, I'm gonna step off for a minute, but can you explain to the audience there the term stupid?
Yes.
Good, do that. I'll
I'll
be
let
right back.
chat explain that.
Good.
Uh,
Talk among
I
yourselves.
took an excerpt from a man named Carlo Cipolla, who was an Italian historian who did albeit a slightly humorous take on the word stupidity, but at the same time, it's a very penetrating and insightful analysis of the implications of this term. So I'll let chat just uh, recite this for you.
Fifth law. A stupid person is the most dangerous type of person. Stupid people are worse than criminals because they cause chaos without even benefiting from it. Why is this true? A rational criminal, like a thief or scammer, has a clear objective and predictable behavior. A stupid person, however, is irrationally destructive, making them harder to anticipate or counteract. Stupid individuals can unintentionally empower other stupid people, creating dangerous cycles of poor decisions and chaos. Implication: society suffers most when stupid individuals gain influence or power. Combating stupidity is difficult because it doesn't follow the normal rules of logic or self-interest. Stupid people disrupt systems and damage others without gaining anything themselves, which makes their actions harder to counteract. Fifth law: a stupid person is the most dangerous type of he suffers most when stupid individuals gain influence or power. Combating stupidity is difficult because it doesn't follow the normal rules of logic or self-interest. Stupid people disrupt systems and damage others without gaining anything themselves, which makes their actions harder to counteract. Unlike a criminal who can be deterred by risks or incentives, a stupid person does not operate under rational cost-benefit analysis. Worse, stupidity tends to be contagious as bad decisions encourage further bad decisions, creating larger waves of chaos. The implication is severe. When stupidity infiltrates positions of power, institutions weaken, social trust erodes, and decisions are made that harm everyone, including those making them. Because stupidity defies logic, traditional methods of mitigation, such as reasoning or deterrence, often fail. The only way to minimize its impact is through constant vigilance, recognizing the threat early, and limiting the influence of those who demonstrate consistent irrationality.
So that was it. And I'll turn the mic back over to
Back on
Hamza.
time.
Mm-hmm. Just
Thanks
finished.
for presenting that, and I'm sure everybody heard that. And so that shows you the seriousness of being stupid.
Yep.
And I have to label Shuaib as stupid and a lot of his followers as stupid. Why? Because in the face of clear argument, if it wasn't for clear argument, I couldn't say that. But because of the clear ayats that I bring every time I open my mouth, and you have nothing against them, the 10 points that you put up, the boogeyman, to show people that Hamza doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an old man. Don't listen to him. This is who Hamza is. And I answered all 10 in one day, and you ain't took 5 weeks and 6 weeks, and you ain't answered one. And now I'm bringing this kind of information to you now. And before I even said it, on Facebook, people are talking about, I'm never going to stop making Salah. I'm going to be Salah forever. You didn't even hear the argument, and yet you're so stupid that you even denied it before you heard it. Did you reject our message before it was made clear to you? Why don't you follow the best that is revealed to you from your Lord? Listen to all points of view. Chapter 20, chapter 39, verse 18. Listen to all points of view and follow the best. Allah says that. Listen to all the points of view and follow the best. You said, nah, I'm not listening to that brother Hamza. I don't care what he's saying, all that. Yeah, he's against my Arbab, my Lord and Savior, Shuaib. He's against him. I don't like that. So you're not listening. So now, before I go on into destroying your Ramadan, next, that's up next. What's up next? Your Ramadan is up next. Get ready to work on that. That's next. That's up next. I'll give a little chance for some question and answer on what we talked about. If anybody has anything right now, because the next one is not going to take that long. It's going to be real quick and smooth. And then I'll take some more questions. But anybody got any questions on what I just presented? Salam, Sister Fatima, I see you. Anybody got any questions on what I just presented? Okay, let me ease on into the next one and then I'll leave it open for questions. Okay. Uh, this one is about your Ramadan. And I'm gonna reflect on 4 possibilities. It's very short. I have material on Ramadan, but I couldn't prepare all of that for this particular lecture. This particular lecture was for to show that you cannot recite the Fatiha at any time. If you recited it, excuse me, if you ever recite the Fatiha one time because you didn't know any better, well, then that was only one time. You have the Quran now, so there's nothing to ask Allah for guidance. The guidance is here. And certainly the Prophet himself, the messenger prophet, would not recite the Fatiha, what, 17 times a day? After all this evidence I presented to you about him being guided and guided and guided and guided, and delivering the book, and you know nothing about Fatiha and all that evidence. What do you have? What in the world are you going to quote from the Quran to show that he recited the Fatiha? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine it. I have a good imagination. I can't even imagine that. That I can't imagine. That's a talking point for Shuaib. Look, he said he's got a good imagination. There's a talking point. He's such a chump, he'll jump on that. He'll jump on that. What a life. Anyway, let's roll. Let me get a sip of some water. Something I normally do. No, nobody ever sees me drinking water in my lectures. I just started that recently. You can look at all the lectures that I have on YouTube. You'll never see me drinking water. I keep water as my enemy. I keep it away, away. One time I gave a lecture and my stuff spilled. It spilled. What is this? One and something spilled.
Um, so
Uh, okay. Anyway, Leave that as it may. This Ramadan thing, this fasting thing, repeated fast annually is unquranic. To repeat this fast, this Ramadan, that's in chapter 2, verse 186, to repeat 183 and 186 and so forth, uh, especially 186, 185 rather, is unquranic. To repeat it is unquranic. Reflections on four possibilities. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reflect on four possibilities why it's unquranic. Unquranic. Let's go, Ramadan. Now, when we look at chapter 2, verse 185, I hope that's what I was saying. Chapter 2, verse 185. The grammatical terminology of 2, 185. The word there is shahida. So whoever it says witnessed. That's past tense. It's a perfect verb. It's a perfect verb. Whoever witnessed that, that incident of the Quran being revealed in Ramadan, whoever witnessed it. Now, we don't know when in Ramadan. It doesn't tell you in Ramadan. Was it Ramadan? Okay, let's say Ramadan is a month. A month. I'm not going to debate whether it means a hot season, this period, that period, or whatever. I'll just go with month since that's what you want to work with right now. We'll deal with that. That's not my business. The point is, do you know what day it was revealed when it started? Say Ramadan has 29 to 30 days. Did it come down on the first day? Did it come down on the sixth day? Did it come down on the 10th day? On the 20th day? So if it came down on the 20th day, why are you fasting 30 days? You just fasted 9 days or 10 days. 9 days or 10 days. Why are you fasting a whole month? Do you know when it came down? Do you know? No. Well, you have to go and try to find out. So they talk about Laylatul Qadr and all that kind of thing, the last 10 days or whatever that is. So that's their business, not mine. But you have to go somewhere and find that out. But the word there is shahida. Shahida means it's a perfect verb. Whoever was present, whoever witnessed it, they were the ones who were doing the siyam, which I'm saying is not fasting, but abstaining. Abstaining. They were abstaining. This is a better term. Abstaining. They were abstaining. Whoever was present in that month, who was present there in that month. Shahida. And that's a verb in the past tense. Past tense. To have saw, to have witnessed, to have sighted. Question. What tense is the word shahida? Is there conditional clause in the above text? Does the Quran instruct this act to be repeated over and over again? Does it say that you repeat this over and over again? And so without doing any further long, drawn out situation, I'm gonna ask four questions. Four questions. Let me get the questions. I'm going to ask four questions. I'm going to ask four questions. And then you answer the four questions. You, meaning the Sheikh of Azhar University, the Sheikh from Medina University, the Sheikh from the universities of Egypt and Morocco and Spain, or wherever you go to study, so the so-called students of knowledge, the muftis and the grand muftis and all that. I want to ask you guys, and some of you guys who don't know any better, ask your imam, and if your imam he don't know, tell the imam to ask somebody he studied with from his scholars, and if he doesn't know, ask him to ask somebody up until you get this answer. This is from the Quran. You don't want the answer? You don't want to find out what the Quran is saying. You don't want to go to any that you have to go, length that you have to go to find out the answer to these questions in the Quran, or you just want to sit around and ask Baba Shuaib, because Baba Shuaib got plenty of answers for you. He'll tell you whatever you like. No, you eat at twilight. It's sunset. Sunset is not twilight. It's not dark. It's dark. It's in between dark. Yeah, eat that. Yeah, do this. Yeah. Baba Shuaib, what should I? Oh, well, this is what you do. Let me take you to chapter so and so. This is what you do. Baba Shuaib, yeah, over here. Just answering questions all day long when Allah told you in chapter 5, verse 101, keep your mouth shut. So keep your mouth shut. Don't answer no question. The prophet wasn't allowed to answer questions after the Quran was delivered, and not you either. But you don't care, and you don't care. But the question that you should answer is that, oh Allah, curse my family and my son. If I'm lying about Jesus the Father, you won't touch that one. That one you won't touch. Okay, here's some questions. Ramadan. Reflections on 4 possibilities. The first possibility. Let's ask the sheikhs this. The Quran tells us neither that the prophet was to repeat the act, that is to say, perform it on a regular basis at the same time as the original act, nor that the community was to follow his example. The Quran doesn't tell us that. Let me repeat it. The Quran doesn't tell us. The Quran tells us neither. Doesn't tell us neither that the prophet was to repeat the act. Whatever he did on when the Quran came down, doesn't say he was repeated every year. That is to say, perform it on a regular basis at the same time as the original act. He doesn't tell him that. Nor that the community along with him was to follow his example. Doesn't tell you that. Point number 2. The Quran tells us both that the prophet was to repeat the act and that the community was to follow his example. That's another proposition. Is that what the Quran tells us? That the prophet was both to repeat the act and that the community was to follow his example. Show us where that is in the Quran. Number 3, the Quran tells us that the prophet was to repeat the act, but not that the community was to follow his example. Him just by himself. He repeat the act, the community not to follow his example. Does the Quran tell us that? Number 4, the Quran tells us that the community was to follow the prophet's example, but not that the prophet was to repeat the act. The community was to follow the example of the prophet when that happened, but not that the community was to that the prophets that the community was to follow the prophet's example, but not that the prophet was to repeat that act. So now, following the prophet's example, it seems entails repeating the act in question. However, as the 4th possibility, which I just read, let me read it again. The Quran tells us that the community was to follow the prophet's example, but not that the prophet was to repeat the act. They was to follow his example at the initial stage, but not to repeat the act. Following the prophet's example, it seems to entail repeating the act in question. However, as the 4th possibility shows, it does not necessarily entail the prophet's repeating the act. It is the original act per se that is the object of the community's emulation, not the repeating of the act. If the Quran indicates that fasting is obligatory during Ramadan, we must know for whom it is obligatory. So that's the 4 possibilities. So now, let's ask Chat. Let's ask Chat that. Let's ask Chat and see about those 4 possibilities. Let's ask Chat to consider those 4 possibilities.
Ramadan UNQURANIC analysis. Based on the principle of bivalence, true or false? 1. The Quran tells us neither that the Prophet was to repeat the act fasting in Ramadan, nor that the community was to follow his example. True. The Quran does not state that the Prophet was to repeat the act annually, nor does it say that the community was to follow his example. The verse only addresses those who have witnessed, past tense, the month. 2. The Quran tells us both that the Prophet was to repeat the act and that the community was to follow his example. False. The verse does not command the Prophet to repeat the act annually, nor does it state that the community must follow his example in doing so. 3. The Quran tells us that the Prophet was to repeat the act, but not the community. The community was not to follow his example. False. There is no explicit command in the Quran stating that the Prophet must repeat the act annually, while the community does not. 4. The Quran tells us that the community was to follow the Prophet's example, but not that the Prophet was to repeat the act. False. The Quran does not state that the community was to follow the Prophet's example in fasting Ramadan while exempting him from repeating it. Final conclusion. The Quran provides no indication that the Prophet was required to repeat the act of fasting annually, nor that the community was obligated to follow his example in doing so. Any claim that fasting in Ramadan is an obligation must be entirely sourced from the Quran without relying on external sources, 6:114, 6:38. Since the verse uses shahidid in the perfect tense, past action, it refers only to those who have witnessed the month, not an ongoing obligation for the future. Therefore, any claim that the Quran mandates an annual fasting obligation is false unless explicitly stated in the Quran itself.
There we have it, folks. Is that it? There we have it. So that's the 4 questions asked, and you have no argument from the Quran to say otherwise. So be that as it may, just keep doing your pagan foolishness and following your arbabs and your fake Sunni religion, fake Sunni Wahhabi religion that was made up and that you follow, and that Shuaib and people of his underscore, meaning that on a low level people like him, he ain't even got sense enough to even look at this kind of stuff, to even consider this. This is way out of his pay scale. It's not even for him. And you talking about come over here and debate you, come to your platform. You must be out of your mind. You wouldn't stand a second. You wouldn't stand a second with me cross-examining you. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You know nothing. You don't know nothing. Come up with something new now. So now it's time for you to look into the Quran, stop beating on these other people and what's shaking people who ain't bothering you. You understand? Go over there and mess with Dr. Al Moses and see what you get. Go mess with him and see how you fare out with him. You know, I don't think you'll fare too good with him. So, but the point is, you can't even deal with me, and I don't even speak no Arabic. I'm just talking English. My whole talk today is English, and you can't overcome the English. You or any other Arabic speaking person on what? On this planet Earth. Maybe you can get some assistance from the jinn. Maybe the jinn can help you if you call on them long enough. Uh, they might can help you. And Shuaib, go and become Muslim. I doubt that you have became Muslim also. I don't think you're a Muslim. You said it says I bear witness in the Quran. There's no I bear witness. So with that, folks, I have ended my talk for today, and now I'll wait to see how Shuaib responds to this, because I know he's going to respond. If he doesn't, that just makes him more of a coward, more of a loser. And when he does respond, he's going to just show how ignorant he is, because he has nothing to respond with. Just only make mockery and make jokes. And there's people, when they comment, they're just going to be commenting, making mockery and making jokes, as if that bothers Hamza Abdul Malik. You must be out of your mind. I'm seasoned at this. I'm seasoned. I'm Allah's attorney. I'm Allah's a prosecutor and attorney. I'm a slave of Allah. I don't fear nobody. I don't care what you got to say. Nothing bothers me at all. Not nothing. None of that don't bother me at all. I don't care nothing about it. Not about it. I'm not even going to deal with the about it. I'll just leave that out. I don't care nothing about it. How's that? So now, any questions? Anybody have any questions on what I presented today? The line is open for discussion. You can talk about what I question me about anything I presented, or give some points of view of your own that you like. You can criticize something I said, whatever. I don't care. Whatever you want to talk about, it's open. You can say maybe I fell short here and I should be consider this and consider that. I'll take all that into play. If I don't answer it now, I'll consider it. You're free to do it. Do whatever you please. It's open. But uh, I would love it if you got some chapters and verses to speak on, and not just your personal opinion. Personal opinion is just like those A words. A words. Everybody got one. Everybody got one. One of those A words.
Salam to everyone. All I can say is this. I don't think anybody can argue against any of your points, Sheikh Hamza.
I certainly appreciate that, Fatima. I'm so happy to hear that. I don't think I know they can't. There's no argument. I'm talking from the Quran. How you gonna argue against the Quran? What verses would you say to overthrow the verses I have? It would have to be a contradiction. Or you'd have to say, brother, the Arabic grammar, the language and all that you're using doesn't say what you're saying. You'd have to say that. And I look at many different translations. Bring your translation that you have. I have 20 different translations sitting up in here that I look at and check and cross-reference when I'm doing research. Everybody knows how I do research. I get down hard and heavy in my research before I open my mouth. When I'm going to talk about a law, once I open my mouth to say something about a law, your goose is cooked. You better know that. Once I say it in public, you're done. That's why I went and said this on Facebook the last time when Shuaib talked about, well, this is who Hamza is. What did I do right away? I went and put it on Facebook so everybody can say, oh, this is who Hamza is. Before I even tackled it, I put it up on Facebook so everybody can see. Then I blew it away in one day, all of it. And so now I brought some other stuff the last time that I blew away. Now I'm bringing this here that the Prophet never recited Fatiha. So that therefore, if he recited any Salah, Fatiha was not what he recited. He recited it without Fatiha, period. So all that stuff you're doing around the world, Bismillahir Rahman, A'udhu Billahi, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, that's not from the Quran. That's from Hadith and Sunnah. And Shuaib just said, recite the Fatiha. So he's a Sunni Muslim. He's a Sunni Muslim, a mushrik, and he's a kuffar as well. How do you say that? Because he doesn't trust Allah alone. Chapter 40, verse 12. Brother, you don't tell nobody who's going to heaven and who's going to hell and who's that. I tell them what Allah said, who Allah said is going. Allah tells you simple thing like, when somebody dies and it's apparent to you that they are companions of the fire, don't walk behind them. Well, how's it going to be apparent to me if I don't study the situation, know them, know what they said in life and all that? How would it be apparent to me that they're headed for the fire so that I don't follow their graveyard, their burial? This just dumb stuff. People just try to make excuses so that they don't have to criticize, so they can slide through earth, the little weaklings. No, the people's souls are at stake here. We're not playing a game here. Your life is at stake. Your soul is at stake. And Allah told you very easily, if you don't know something, leave it alone. Allah said, if you don't know something, what? Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. If you don't know how to fast for Ramadan, brother, what should I do? What time should I eat? How many eggs should I crack? Yeah, well, brother, you should only eat the egg yolk. For sahur and iftar, you eat the white. Whatever. I'm saying, what are you talking about? What are you asking Shuaib questions for? Why are you asking him questions when Allah says, if you ask when the Quran is revealed, the answer be in the Quran. If you don't see it, leave it alone. But you don't like that. You don't want to do what Allah said. You just don't want to do what Allah said. Talking about they don't want to make salah. They don't want to make salah. The next time I come on, I'll show you my prayer rug. You've never seen a prayer rug like that in your life. A prayer rug. They're talking about Salah. We pioneered that kind of stuff here in the United States. Way before Shuaib was born, we was out here in the streets and subways and byways and highways making Salah. What are you talking about? I had businesses that I was losing money just to close up and go to Juma. I lost more money than what you make in a year in a couple of weeks to go on to Juma for my businesses closing down. But yet the people would stay there and wait and line up until I get back. I'm saying, what are you talking about? It's just foolishness, comments, just silly comments. And I'll wait for them to come, but you got no argument, and that's how you jam. Anybody want to speak now? It's open for anybody to speak. Say whatever you like.
Salam, Hamza. Tariq here.
Yeah.
Another tremendous lecture, Hamza. What a service you are to to the world, brother. All praise to due to Allah. I said before, like Shafiq and others, we know how hard you work. We see you personally, how hard you work, the pain you go through. So we're super appreciative of what you do in these lectures. And it's helped me to grow, become a better person all across the board, Hamza. But I'll say this too, Hamza. You were just hilarious today with that popping the balloons at the carnival and floating across the room. I mean, you're out of your mind. But that said, man, you gave Schwabe the proper blistering dressing down that he deserves, and hopefully it will shake him out of that lethargy he's in of denial, and come on and do things right by Allah and his this dean and his audience. So thank you again, Hamza, for your great work and tireless dedication to it, brother. All praise is due to Allah. Thank you.
That's right, and that's the end result. And I know how you feel about that, and you know that I shake off that thanks. There's no thanks to me. We used to say when I was a Sunni, La shukra ala wajib. There's no thanks for what is obligatory on you. It's obligatory for me to share any information that I might be thinking is beneficial, first of all, for my own soul and my own salvation, and then for the next person, especially the new man, the common person, male or female, the new person who just thinking about becoming Muslim or just enter Islam, to see that and say, wow, I didn't know that. I was duped. Let me get out of here. I'm glad I caught this on time. Let me get up out of this here. And let me maybe listen to more of what this brother's saying. Because why? Because he's quoting the Quran, not because of him. I don't care nothing about Hamza Abdul Malik. He's quoting the Quran, and that's what I want to hear. I don't care nothing about myself. I don't care about me. I care about what I'm quoting from Allah. I'm his slave. That's why I don't have nothing. I can't care about me. I'm sold. I'm bought and sold. But I'll defend the law. So I thank you for those kind words. But all the praise is due to Allah, and Allah reward all of us who strive in that manner. Anybody else want to say anything?
Assalamu alaikum, Hamza. How's it going?
Yeah, Billy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alaikum
Absolutely.
salam, Billy. Glad to hear you on board.
Absolutely. Always. I wouldn't miss this for anything. It's as always, anytime there's a lecture, it's the highlight of my week, highlight of my month. It benefits all of us. And I just wanted to say thank you for another brilliant presentation, as always. You never disappoint, and I don't think I've ever been on a lecture where I didn't learn something and end up with a bunch of notes. Because every time I come on, there's multiple things. Every single presentation, there's multiple things that you'll point out that are either things I've not seen before, or they're verses that I've looked at 20 times and I've still never caught what you pointed out about it. And so all praise due to Allah for that, because that happens a lot. There's many times where you'll mention a verse, and I've seen that verse many times, but I haven't caught or noticed what you caught and noticed about it. So all praise due to Allah for that, Hamza. And I think that comes from the immense amount of work and time and effort that you put into this, and not just right now or recently, but across decades at this point. You've been doing this since before I was born, and I think that you deserve a world of credit and respect for that. All praise due to Allah, and it's amazing that you. Tariq couldn't have said it better when he used the word service. It is a service. It's something that benefits all of us. So thank you for it.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, Billy, and I thank you for your cooperation and your involvement with us in the group and the contribution that you make. And I see you as a person who's rising, and if Allah wills, you'll be maybe achieving even greater heights than what I'm able to achieve. And that's my goal for you is to arm you with stuff, and then when I said turn you back to the Quran, make you think, ponder, look at verses differently, calm down, slow down, and get it right so you can get out here and do this on your level as a da'i. You're a da'i, and I know how bad you want to be able to do this. And we talk all the time. This is not something new. We talk quite often. We talk as a group quite often, so I know where you're coming from, and I certainly thank you for that. I'll accept that from you. I'll accept it from you. The thanks, the thanks. I'll accept it from you, not from Tariq.
Yes, I agree with Brother Billy. Every time I look at a verse that you've just mentioned, I've also read it a million times and never pondered the way you've put it across today. It made me really think more deeply today. Thanks again.
Thank you too,
Share.
Sister Fatima, and I'll accept it from you as well, not from Tariq.
I don't care.
Brother Hamza,
Muhammad Shafi Khalid.
yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Brother.
I thank Allah very much for just putting me in your presence throughout the years, brother. There's the brothers and sisters have given you so many words and said so many things. I can't, there's no sense in repeating or whatever. But I really thank Allah for all these years of putting me in your presence. Really, you've helped me tremendously throughout the years, um, and you've always been a genuine, giving and caring brother. You know, and you always stressed what you stressed today. In terms of no thanks, uh, you work unselfishly as a slave of Allah. I can testify to that. So, brother, may Allah grant you more days, and may Allah just grant you what you deserve, brother. Inshallah, for your diligence, your focus, your determination of delivering this Quran in the best way that you saw and understood to people who are in need in this time of darkness. Assalamu alaikum, Hamza.
Islam, I appreciate it. Thank you. Allah reward you and reward all of us, those who will eventually listen to this lecture later on and gain something from it. Those who have an open mind, a sincere thirst to want to know, like my good brother Sully, the monotheistic brother. I love that brother because I love his innocence. I love the way he's dedicated. I love the way he struggles, and many others, many others. I've named them all, but little brothers who coming along struggling like that and putting the time in. I must applaud those brothers. They go to the Quran. Ain't nobody around me. I don't have no followers. I don't have no group. I don't have no name of no group. I don't have no colors. I don't have nothing. I don't ask for money. I'm not accepting money. I don't do none of that. I just talk.
Hey, you got a big boy out here walking today, huh?
Who's that?
Talib.
Oh, Talib. Salaam alaikum. What's up, Talib? Oh, he's out
Hey,
there
can you hear
talking
me?
to somebody else. Oh, he was up.
Hello, hold on.
He got caught out there.
Yeah, Talib, huh? All right, Talib, since you're out there, what you got anything to add to the conversation there, big time?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Yeah, I just want to add on to the side there, because and you just addressed it. Being with you as many years as I've been with you, and knowing why you do what you do, just want to let the brothers that's listening to the end to realize that as much as you were destroying the whole arguments that they come with on the other side, it is yours, and I know this here from you. This is your true desire for them to be able to let go of that other nonsense and be able to come into the understanding of following this Quran alone, and understanding that. So I know as you beat them up, they might not understand that it's your true intentions to try and bring them around and get them out of the nonsense that they're in. So I just wanted to drop that in.
Good point.
Appreciate
Well
it.
stated, Talib. Well stated, brother.
Yeah, good point.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Anybody want to say something about the lecture, criticize something maybe I overlooked, something they can add to it? You can do that too.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, Pop. How you doing?
Who's this?
This is Hamza.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
I just wanted to say, I took my Shahada back in 1990. And I used to go to Masjid al-Taqwa down in Brooklyn on Bedford Avenue.
Yeah.
I was working very close by. I was doing security at a place nearby, and I was very interested in Islam, so I stopped by. And it's funny, they never gave me a Quran when they gave me some material. Everything was pamphlets on, the Day of Judgment, and everything was about, basically, it was Prophet Muhammad related. They didn't give me any Quran right away. And I wondered why. And I asked one of the brothers there, I said, listen, Imam Siraj wasn't there when I was, every time I went there, he just wasn't there. So I asked one of the brothers, I said, listen, why are you guys not giving me a Quran? And they told me, well, we don't think you're ready for it yet. And I thought that was strange. I said, well, isn't the whole belief system based on the Quran? And why am I not getting, do I need somebody to explain it to me? Or so for months, they just gave me material. Like I said, it was hadith based, and I didn't get a Quran until I actually went and bought my own. And then, basically for 25 years, I was what I guess I would consider myself a Sunni Muslim. But then I started to question the whole hadith, because people say, if you follow the Quran, you got to follow Muhammad, and then my question was, okay, why is everybody putting the hadith on the same level as the Quran? It's not divinely inspired, and if it was divinely inspired, then there should be no weak hadith.
Yeah.
And when you find a hadith that doesn't make sense, they're quick to say, oh, it's daif, it's weak. So, but if it's weak, then it's not divinely inspired. So why?
Simple as that.
I just questioned it, and then I just started to question everything. And then I came across you, and I'm glad I did. And here we are. So I just wanted to thank you, Pop. I know, you've been in the game since the 70s, and I know your metamorphosis over the years. And I'm just glad that I found you, and I'm glad that you're still around to give us his knowledge.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that, my brother. And you continue to study, and it seems like you're on your path. You're on the right way. You're on the right way. Allah is the one who guides. He will guide you. As long as you seek the guidance, Allah will guide you. You don't have to worry about that. Anyone who's seeking guidance, Allah will guide them. That's His word, and He keeps His word. So you seek, He will guide you. Step by step is what you need to know. It's not everything you're going to know every time you want to know something and all that, but He'll let you know what is necessary, that if you drop dead today, you'll go to paradise. And that's what's more important. If I drop dead today, will I go to paradise? Based on what I know. Not
And then I always thought that, why is Islam the only religion out of the major religions that has a separate system that is on the same level as the religious book? Like, as far as I know, Christianity doesn't have any, for lack of a better term, hadith, any material that's on the same level as the Bible. They hold the Bible as, the supreme, book of knowledge. It's the same thing with when you go back back into the the Hindu scriptures. I don't think they have anything on the level as the Bhagavad Gita and stuff like that. They take it for what it is. It just seems like the Sunnis, they come up with this system where they have this whole set of knowledge that's not divinely inspired that they say you must believe in on the level as the Quran. It just doesn't make sense to me. Never did.
The religion that they made up. And so since they made up the religion, they had to make up the methodology to sustain that religion. So now the Quran is just simply a what? A prayer book. The Quran is a prayer book. It's not a book of guidance for them. Their guidance is the Hidayah books and the Tafsir and fiqh and uh, uh, commentaries of different people, seerahs and so forth. The Quran is a prayer book. They use it to recite prayers. And even Shuaib now, he made it a book of du'as. He recites du'as to Allah. So how many times, and you're reciting du'as every day, how many days during the year, you're going to run out of du'as soon. What are you going to recite then? The same du'as over again? The same du'as? What are you doing? Asking Allah for something? Allah says He's giving you all that you asked of Him. If you could count up the favors, you couldn't count them up. So what are you asking Allah to give you that He hasn't given you already? Excuse me, Brother Shuaib, can you tell me one thing that you asking Allah for that He hasn't given you? Just one thing, not two, just one that He hasn't given you already. It's just foolishness. So you're in the right place, my brother. I certainly appreciate that. Love to hear that. Anybody else? It'd be something, just some critical point of view. If somebody's listening critically, they got some. Where's all those people that comment negative stuff and all that? You on my Facebook page, you make comments. You knew that I was coming on today. You knew that you could come over here and get on and make those comments. You kept your little behind off because you didn't want to get blown away in public because you want to sit back and type out this and type out that and say this and pops you and you go sit down and all that. And you come on and catch me face to face like she were talking about face to face. Face to face with me? You face to face with me? You must be out of your mind. You done lost your mind. You done really lost it now. You ain't ready to talk to me. I got too much stuff. I can lead you in circles. You don't talk around me. I'm gonna ask you questions, just jam you all day long, just to jam you. You got nowhere to go. Your range is not that wide. So it's not, this is not for you. This lecture today is for the new person who's just coming in to correct themselves and get themselves straight, or for the Grand Mufti to come and say, that brother don't know what he's talking about, and this is why. And then I can say, wow, somebody finally put me in check. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm saying, no, it ain't happening. It's not going to happen. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to happen. And Brother Shuaib, I put $3,000 out there cash. He could be using that money now to feed the people in Ghana and all that for the Ramadan. He ain't collected not one nickel of it, not one nickel. And Allah is my witness that that money would have been sent to him immediately without him having to pay a dime, postage or tax or anything. All he had to do was answer the questions from the Quran that I posed to him. He has no questions, no answers, no nothing. So he's done. And now he's done because he wouldn't even take the challenge that Allah told him to take. Allah told him to take that challenge. He threw in the towel. That means he can't support that Jesus was born without a father. He cannot make that argument. That's why he's scared to take that challenge because he would be cursed. He knows that. And he's being cursed now already for saying it, whether he takes the challenge or not. He's a chump. He's a chump, simple as that. And like I said again, well, Brother Hamza used to post my stuff on the video. Yeah, because you was using my stuff, my material, you was using it. And so I said, well, wow, the brother's learning. Let me help him spread it and all that. And I didn't bother him until he painted me with that little thing he was trying to get Maverick X with. He painted me. When you painted me, I said, oh, hell no. I'm not letting you step on me like that. You should have kept your mouth shut with me. Just dealt with Maverick X. He can handle his own. He can handle his own. You're no match for him, but he can handle his own. And then my brother Kareem Lewis, I was kind of thinking about him, and I said, well, wow, Kareem Lewis used to give me some props and all that. You mean you tell me he flipped on me too? My brother Kareem Lewis? Well, you're not able to debate me on none of this kind of stuff or to overthrow none of this kind of argument I got here. None of that. I was surprised to say that. I said, no, not Kareem Lewis. For real? But it is what it is. But I'm Hamza Abdul Malik, and nobody, I don't care about nobody. Like I said again, I want a bunch of you muftis. I don't want just one or two. I want to sit in a circle with a bunch of you. I already had a couple of muftis already. I done blew them away. Now I got one, the one we caught him on videotape. He's on videotape. Mufti Rawaz, or whatever his name is. I made him throw the Quran under the bus. He had a Hafiz with him and a crew with him. And I had a lawyer there that was with me that was running off at the mouth one year, and then he jumped on my side the next year. He was a lawyer. And they was all there, and the man got blown away. And I got him captured. Allah made him get captured on videotape. It's on my YouTube right now. A mufti. And he couldn't deal with this. And I had nowhere the kind of stuff that I got going on now. Nowhere near what I got going on now in terms of my research. Research, not me. I stand behind the Quran. So you only heard me quoting Quran tonight. You didn't hear me giving my personal opinion about nothing. A chapter and verse, brother. Put up the chapter and verse. Brother said, brother, don't worry about putting it up. I'll put it there. You stop the tape and you go look at the chapter and verse later on. Anybody else? If not, then we're going to bring this to a close. I'm going to deal with this Salat business some more. I'm going to stay in this Salat thing for a while, and we're going to expand on it, talk about it more. I'll have some other things maybe to deal with it. Maybe I'll deal with a couple of topics at a time when I talk. And it won't be this long. Maybe I'll do a couple of 2 hour, an hour here and an hour there for two lectures, 2.5 hours. I'm not doing all this long drawn out stuff. I'm gonna fall back on that. All this high powered stuff, gonna fall back on it. It's a lot of strain and stress because I have to make sure I know what I'm talking about, and I don't want nobody to have not one point against me. I don't give you one point to get me wrong, not one. So, oh, you got me on that one. No, none. You get me on nothing. Nothing, because the law, you don't get a law on nothing. And so I'm backing up the Quran from a law's point of view, from what he says, his arguments, and his are conclusive. And so you're not getting me because I don't have my own personal opinion to say about nothing. I don't have no personal opinion. My personal opinion ain't worth dookie squat. It's just the heebie-jeebies. I don't have the heebie-jeebies, whatever that is. So anybody else before we close out? Okay, if there's nobody else, let me just thank everybody for being on board. Share the videotape around, listen to it again, ponder the verses, think about them. And when we come on the Zoom the next time, if you found something that you discovered, bring it on for the next time, even though I talk about a different subject. So, brother, the last video you talked about is a point you made, and I looked at it and I saw this, or I talked to somebody and they told me this or whatever. Bring it. Or if you got somebody that wants to challenge me of notoriety, not some little local yokel imam, would-be da'i of Shuaib's type. I'm not looking for him. I'm looking for the small man to guide him right, point him back to the Quran, not me, to the Quran, or the Grand Mufti to prove me wrong. I'm looking for them to prove me wrong. If the top man, if I can't beat the top man in the world, then my argument ain't worth nothing. It has to get the top man. So I said a few of them, so that way I make sure I get them all together. Get me a committee of muftis, and then I'll sit and I'll present this argument in front of them, or let them hear it because it goes out on the YouTube. Let them hear. This guy said Muhammad never recited the Fatiha. What a joke. That means now when you go to Hajj and you stop to make the Hajj and make the Salah and you recite the Fatiha, that's wrong. The Prophet never did it. When you break your fast and it's time to make your Salah, Ramadan, and you recite the Fatiha and your Salah and Tawari and all that, that's wrong. That's wrong. All that's wrong. There's none of that. There's no praying. There's nothing called praying in Islam. There's no prayer. There's no praying. There's no praying. There's no ritual. There's no religion. And that so-called following closely, I'm going to get that next week, inshallah. I'm going to do the following closely and blow Shuaib completely out the water with following closely. And here he talking about you can't make no salah unless you're a believer. A Muslim, don't forget about making salah if you're Muslim. What stupidity is that? All right, anybody? Okay, thank you all for joining me with this. We're going to shut it down. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.